stream. How's it going, guys? I hope you're doing good. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Oh my god, a 90 stream streak, Fed. Oh my god, thank you so much. That is amazing. Also, congratulations on first. Hello, Sel. Hello, Ing. Hello, While Running. Hello, Pocket Mochas. Hello, Lucy. How are you guys doing tonight? So I think most of you guys got to gold rank and strive next is platinum. Fantastic. I am also hello.
Here comes a mighty warrior.
Wait, did that play? Oh my god, I forgot to change the thing. Hang on, I'm changing it right now. Whoops. There. Okay, it's been fixed. Oops. It wasn't that loud. That's fine. It, yep. Thank you for the resub while running. It's fine. It wasn't that loud. And now the alerts have been fixed, so it's gonna be 90 degrees on Wednesday. That's wild. Yeah, no, for sure. Hello, Boo. How's it going? Was there anybody here in stream, in chat, while ads were running, supposedly, who actually saw ads happen? Because I'm still trying to figure this out, if the ASMR tag is actually playing ads now or not. From my understanding, it is now, which is not ideal, but it's always hard to tell because most of the people who are here and active in chat tend to be subscribers, so you guys wouldn't see them anyways. It's kind of important on this end because I don't want ad breaks to keep people from being able to hear me read the story. You watched another stream not being subbed and so far you haven't. Okay. You can find out you'll be a non-sub for a bit. How that doesn't... Wait, what? Do you have like an alt account or something? Because you can't... Even if you like undid your... Like even if you unsubscribed, it would still last until... Maybe you were wrong? That's okay. So we're gonna play this by ear just a little bit tonight. I am going to start reading the story. However, I will, I will take a break from, just before we do that. But I will take a break from the story during ad breaks and just kind of chat with you guys and do ASMR-ish stuff while ads are running, so that the people who are stuck in ads don't miss the story. Unless it turns out ads aren't running, in which case we'll just keep it going. Thank you for the hydropats. Oh, there they are. Hang on. To be careful not to accidentally bump the mic. You're waiting for Anon to get ready? You're going to be heading to movie theaters to watch the Mario movie in a bit? Oh my gosh, I hope you enjoy. That's awesome. Okay. So, we are going to be reading more of Otherside Picnic. We are... Want to stop by for a bit while you get started? Absolutely. I also just realized we don't have this up. Hang on, let me fix this. Boop. Gonna wake up super early tomorrow. You'll check the VOD later. Good reading. Thank you, Fed. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Sleep well. Good night. Okay. So, anyways, we are going to be reading file number 11, possibly also 12 if we end up having the time, although I think file 11 is decently long, and then file 12 is like really long, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, yeah, so as usual on these, trigger requests hello Lucia, trigger requests are available should you want them, because it is still an ASMR stream. Finally cooking it with bacon, fantastic. Thank you for the check-in, Lucia. Oh right, that's what I was talking about. I'm at the top end of gold 2 right now on Bridget. I'm almost to gold 3, so that's kind of cool. We'll see how that goes. Hello, Dr. Smug. Okay, so, yeah. Triggers are available. However, I will get to them in between chapters. So, let me go ahead and put this up on the stream. On the screen? Yeah. What's up, while running? Did I miss a redeem? What's up? No, I don't think I did. Okay. What's up, while running? What's up? How's it going? How are you doing? What you need? What's up? Redeems are on that shouldn't. I'm dumb. I'm dumb and didn't prep for this stream appropriately. Thank you for pointing that out. Hang on. We will fix it. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. I'm gonna fix it. Whoops, 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 whoops. 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 Whoops, whoops. 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 Oops. 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 And one more oops. There we go. It's been fixed. Please refresh your stream if you need to. You joined at the mouse part of the stream? Yes. Okay. The redeems are fixed. So if you need them, they're there. You may need to refresh your stream, maybe, but it also might just be there. So that fixed in real time, for sure. Anyways, I know what I'm doing. Okay. So, again, if you guys need a redeem, just let me know. I'm gonna be first taken bugged. Yeah, that part didn't change. So, okay. I'm gonna be checking back in between chapters, but to start us off, File 11. The whispered voice requires self-responsibility. Wait, what? You figured it out? Secret's teddy bear is a hurtful actress. She's actually a lich. That's an interesting theory. Okay, for reals though. File 11. The whispered voice requires self-responsibility. Chapter 1. Oh, also, before I get going, as usual, let me know if the volume levels are off at all, if the music's too loud, if I'm too loud, if I'm too quiet, if everything's too quiet, so on and so forth. It's extra important. I mean, it's always important, but it's extra important on the ASMR streams, so. Chapter 1. The next time I spotted Satsuke Yurima, I was leaving the Jimihudo bookstore in Ikebukuro. It was a Saturday afternoon, and Toriko and I had been meeting up on the first floor. We had meetings in Ikebukuro a lot lately. I was at the Minami-Yono on the Saikyo line, while Toriko was at Nishinopori on the Yamanote line, so when we went to go to Kozakura's house at Shikuji Koen, Ikebukuro was the perfect spot. We could have each headed for Kozakura's home on our own, but somehow this just sort of ended up being our habit. I don't even remember which had suggested it first. It was probably Toriko. I finished paying at the register, then went to pick up Toriko. She was looking at the display of new releases in literature. Sorry for the wait. What did you buy? She asked. Books on camping and survival. In order to move on to the next stage of exploring the other world, we needed to think of ways to spend the night over there. Though the other world was dangerous at night, needing to return home before dark curbed our range of exploration too much. In order to make longer trips, we needed to figure out how to stay safe at night. And in order to do that, I was going to need to learn survival skills, even if it was only until we figured out something better. Fortunately, there had just been a camping boom, and that had brought out many books I could reference on the subject. Because we were coming here to meet up already, I picked out a few. "You don't need to buy books. I'll teach you," Toriko said, sounding displeased. She apparently had experience with camping, gained from lessons from her parents when she was younger. Still, "You said you'd forgotten what you learned, Toriko." "And I'll remember it all as we go." "There you go, just saying things at random again." "I'm not saying it at random. My body remembers. It'll be fine." Sure. You can teach me out in the field." I felt people glancing at us as we talked, so I looked at Toriko, and our eyes met. "What?" "Oh, no, nothing." When I brushed my hair, which had grown to shoulder length, back over my ear, Toriko looked away awkwardly. "Maybe I should cut it after all." "Huh? Why?" "Can't I?" "There's no reason you can't." "Well, you and Kozakura-san did both say I'd look good with long hair, after all." "It's not just with long hair, but long hair would look good on you, I think." As Toriko tried to avoid making eye contact, I squinted at her. What was it? Was there something she felt guilty about? In truth, I knew why Toriko was acting like this. It had all started with one comment from Akari Seto. According to Karateka, if I grew my hair out, I'd look a little like Satsuki Aruma. Oh, yeah? I thought. She's much taller than me and has a nasty look in her eyes. Isn't the only resemblance that we both had black hair? Yeah, Satsuki Aruma looks way meaner than me. Don't lump us together. Maybe I should have played it off like that. But once she pointed it out, it was unexpectedly important to both Toriko and Kozakura. This was right after they'd both suggested I grow my hair out, so that only made it several times more awkward, because neither of them was over their feelings for the missing Satsuki Aruma yet. Incidentally, for our last last after party, which included Karateka, we had pizza at Kazakura's house. Obviously, we couldn't throw out the MVP, who had traded blows, who had landed a one-sided beatdown on Tsunuki Kano before the party, but in retrospect, having her eat pizza when her tooth had just been put back in was maybe not the best choice. Alright, have a good night, Lewis. I appreciate it. Enjoy the movie. Regardless, ever since then, Toriko seemed to feel slightly guilty towards me, even though I didn't really mind. Really, I didn't. I left the bookstore, standing in front of a slightly quiet Toriko. We stood behind a crowd waiting at the crosswalk for a light to change. There was a pedestrian path, left like an island in the middle of a major street with constant traffic. 2 crosswalks intersected it, connecting the opposite shores. When I looked up, I came to a sudden stop. On the far shore, across the crosswalk, in front of a ramen place that had a long line of foreign tourists in front of it, there was another group like ours, waiting for the light to change. There she was, again, among them. A tall woman in black, with long black hair and glasses. Satsuki Aruma. "Sorowo? What's up?" Toriko, who was beside me, asked suspiciously, having noticed I was acting strange. I couldn't respond. Toriko bent her knees a bit and looked at the opposite bank at the same eye level as me. "Is something there?" I looked at the profile of Toriko's face as she said that. There was no sign she had realized something was wrong, in which case I really was the only one who could see that thing. Looking back with that thought in mind, Satsuki Aruma stood out from the scenery around her as if she'd been cut out from a photograph and then pasted there. Her head was hung, and she was immobile as a still image, just like when we had encountered her in the other world. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. There's a saying that goes like that, but I hadn't even spoken of her, so it seemed like that should be against the rules for her to show up like this. The light turned green, and the people around us began to walk. That broke my line of sight, leaving me unable to see Satsuki Aruma for a moment. When I was able to see the far shore again, the woman in black was nowhere to be found. Sorrow. Toriko put a hand on my shoulder. I took a deep breath, then shook my head. Sorry, I was a little out of it. Toriko furrowed her brow closely and looked at me. You okay? Yeah, I'm good now. It was nothing. Well, okay. Toriko stroked my arm anxiously, then moved her hand away. It hardly happened anymore, but on very rare occasions, perhaps because of the flashbacks to past trauma, I would lose consciousness. Toriko experienced that too, so she wouldn't doubt what I had said. What I feared had become a reality. After we encountered the Yamanoke, the shadow of Satsuki Aruma that had appeared in the other world suddenly vanished. This won't be the end. She'll come back. Maybe even in the surface world. That had been my fear, and unfortunately, it had been right. What now? This had turned into a problem. I couldn't bear the thought of her constantly stalking us. It was good that only I could see her, but it took a lot of focus to keep it from Toriko. The moment I began walking across the crosswalk, half lost in thought, a car raced past, right in front of my eyes. Whoa, Sorrow, that was close. What are you doing? Huh? But the light's green. I looked up in confusion. At some point, the light had turned red. Not only that, we weren't on either of the crosswalks, but in the island in the middle of the road. Huh? Why am I here? Hey, are you sure you're okay, Sorrow? You wandered over here on your own and came to a stop. Don't you remember? Toriko said, and what was going on finally sank in. Then I'd really lost consciousness. The cars raced past in front of me one after the other. If I had taken another step forward without coming to my senses, I'd have been run over by now. I'd only meant it as a way of distracting Toriko. The road leading towards the station started getting crowded, and the speed of cars going by slowed. An advertising truck recruiting for a sex service stopped in front of us. The commercial song, praising the high pay, blared from the truck's speakers. The female characters on the side of the truck had all been blotted out. I was so distracted by it, I didn't notice there was someone else there until they called out to us from behind. Excuse me, I turned in the direction of the shrill voice, and there was a woman in her late 40s standing there. She wore a frayed sweater, wrinkled skirt, and sandals on her feet. She also had a black bag that she carried diagonally over her shoulder. Her hair was oily, and the scent of an odd, powerful incense hung in the air around her. The woman looked to Toriko, then spoke in a tone filled with passion. Hand! Hand! Huh? The hand! You're the one from the photo! Toriko and I looked at one another. I had no idea what she was going on about. I saw it on a blog, and I always thought it was pretty, so I printed it out, and I always keep it with me. The woman raised the flap on her shoulder bag and showed us what was inside. There were a number of paper folders. Each one of them had titles like Thank You, Sorry, Dream, and Devil written on them in thick marker. The woman pulled from the file that said Thank You and pulled out the photograph from inside. This is it. It is you, yes? The picture she put in front of us was of Toriko. Toriko was sitting on the train, looking at her phone. Her hand was uncovered, and you could tell it was see-through. The translucence only extended as far as her fingers here. Since she wasn't wearing a glove on it, this might have been from around the time we encountered Hashaku-sama. What? Why? The moment Toriko started to speak, the woman began rambling. I've been looking for you all this time. You and your shining hand. There aren't as many people as beautiful as you, so I thought it would be easy. The photo was from the Yamanote line, so I looked around the major stations along the Yamanote line every day, and I managed to draw you to me. Now I can finally meet you. My wishes have been given form. Everything is connected. I felt a chill in my brain. I stepped in front of the woman without a word. I talked to Toriko over my shoulder. When the light changes, run. Sora, don't say my name. Toriko closed her mouth just in time. I didn't want to give any personal information to someone like this. The woman's eyes widened as she finally seemed to register my existence.
This is what the world is watching.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Did that go through? That's not supposed to happen. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the subscription over on YouTube. That's supposed to be turned off. What happened there? I'm so confused. How did that happen? Well then. I appreciate it. I really do. Oh boy, that's not good. I'm gonna have to figure out how to mute that for future ASMR streams, because it's not supposed to. I have it turned off. I am so sorry for that. World is watching Stu Chris read, so it's accurate. You know, that's fair. I'm trying to see where that would have come through, because it's really not supposed to happen. It should be turned off. Someone test subscribing. Don't, because it's turned. Clearly it happened. So, Please, yeah. I mean, again, I appreciate it, but also, yikes. That should be turned off. Where would I do that? It's not that. It should be. Hang on. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Real time fixings. Because it really shouldn't be happening. Oh, there it is. Okay. I think I just turned it off proper. I think. Okay. I thought I had that fixed. It's turned off in the OBS side. I guess I needed to actually shut it off hard on Streamlabs. You can test it. It shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't be. Yeah, that's the only thing on there. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that, you guys. Okay. We should be fine. But yes, thank you so much for the subscription over on YouTube. I really do appreciate it. I can see it even without the alerts on, so please don't worry about it. I will be able to see it and acknowledge it regardless. Sub sent. Doesn't appear to have done anything. Anyways, where was I? Okay. The woman's eyes widened as she finally seemed to register my existence. She thrust her closed left fist towards me. It was an odd gesture, with her thumb sticking out between her index and middle fingers. You! Stop! Don't look at me! She rambled, pointing her left hand towards my face. Before I could do anything, Toriko shouted, "What are you doing? Stop!" The evil eye! This is the evil eye! You can't turn such a terrifying eye on other people! Don't look at me! Toriko seemed to be mad because she thought the woman was making an offensive hand sign at me, but I understood what she was doing. She was warding against evil. There were legends of evil eyes. I think that was While Running's sub notification that just came across on my end, but it did not play anything, which is good, which means it's working. Cool. Okay. Okay. Toriko seemed to be mad because she thought the woman was making an offensive hand sign at me, but I understood what she was doing. She was warding against evil. There were legends of evil eyes that could curse with a glance all around the world, and tales of using rude gestures to resist them were also widespread. I never expected to be on the receiving end, though. It was clearly the act of someone ensnared by superstition, but in this particular case, she wasn't far off the mark. My right eye could, in fact, drive people insane, after all. When I thought about it, I actually thought that was a little funny. That must have shown on my face, because the woman arched her eyebrows and began screeching. "What are you laughing about, you vile brat, you bitch, Satan?" I thought about saying, "That won't work on me," and threatening her, but decided against it. There was nothing to be gained from agitating someone like this. "Let's go." The light had just changed, so I called out to Toriko and turned around. We walked around the advertising truck, which was still stopped in an inconvenient position, and ran across the crosswalk. As we deliberately dove into the crowd crossing from another side, the woman behind us was shouting, "Wait! Please wait! Just a glimpse! That shining hand!" We didn't wait around to let her finish before vanishing into the crowds of Ikebukuro. Okay. Hello, Papa Spade. How's it going? Welcome in, welcome in. I'm just checking to make sure there weren't any, okay. No redeems. Cool. Chapter 2. Congrats. You got yourself a fan, Kozakura said teasingly after she heard the story. Stop. Toriko spat the word in distaste. It's not funny, even as a joke. You end your birthday here? Oh my gosh, happy birthday, Papa Spade. I hope it was a good birthday. Happy birthday. Thank you for spending it here. Stop. Toriko spat the word in distaste. It's not funny, even as a joke. There was a bigger scowl on her face than I'd ever seen from her before, and I couldn't help but stare. It was rare to see the usually aloof Toriko show such disgust. Right, Zoroel? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. My mind was wandering, so I ended up giving a half-hearted response. Toriko's suspicious eyes fell on me, and I looked away. Once Toriko and I had managed to lose the woman, we came to Kozakura's house in Shikuji-koen. Although we were on schedule, we decided to be cautious. We took a roundabout route from the station, so we arrived a little late. Thanks to that, we were having a late lunch, too. The curtains in Kozakura's room were always shut, though, so it didn't really make a difference. Did you realize photos had been taken of you? Kozakura asked as she poked away at her keyboard. Hello, son. How's it going? I remember having a photo taken on the train. It was a while back, though. I didn't like it, so I started wearing gloves. But I think it was just that one time. So that one photo got put up on the net, and you ended up with a passionate fan, huh? Seriously, I told you to stop. If only she were a cute girl. That's not the problem. Toriko raised her voice. The way she was forcing her feelings on me was scary. Oh, sorry. The way she was forcing her feelings on me was scary on its own, but she said awful things to Sorobo, too. I can't forgive that. Yeah, I get it. I'm sorry. Kozakura gave an unemotional apology, taking her hands off the keyboard and leaning back in her chair. It's not coming up. What's not? Your photo. There was a single browser open on Kozakura's screen. She'd apparently been searching the net all this time. The image search results screen was filled with unconscious drunks and passers wearing strange outfits. It seemed she hadn't just been idly chatting with us. I tried searching every keyword that came to mind, but nothing's coming up. How did that woman find it? I think she said something about a blog, I suggested. A blog, huh? Those can be marked as non-public pretty easily, so it could be hard to chase down. Speaking of that, how's the other search going? I asked, and Kozakura frowned. Nothing so far. I found traces of the name after that, but I couldn't find the videos as usual. You, Sorobo-chan? It's the same for me. I tried applying different kanji to it, and I got some results that seemed right, but the links were all down, and there was nothing in the cache. I checked YouTube, Nico Nico, and where else was it? I probably found the same things, but they were all gone. The only leads were the fragments of text left in the Google search results, but they all looked like reposts. That's when Toriko piped in. Hey, you're searching for Lunarumi, right? Yeah, that's right, Kozukura said. The Ghost Story video uploader named Lunarumi. For a while now, Kozukura and I had been trying to dig into that unknown person's identity. Our first information came from Natsumi Ichikawa, a childhood friend of Karateka, my kohai, Akari Seto. Just before she began to have problems with Tsunuki Kano, Natsumi had been watching videos from someone calling themselves Lunarumi. It was my theory that Natsumi had been drawn into the bizarre events as a result of those videos. What she had watched was called a self-responsibility story, which infected those who listened to it. I'm sorry, I'm just checking our ad timer. Okay. What she had watched was called a self-responsibility story, which infected those who listened to it, though she said she didn't remember exactly how the story went. The self-responsibility stories were a series of ghost stories that said, read this and you'll be cursed, and involved young people in ruined buildings or sealed rooms, dying because they were possessed by something. Because they shared many similarities despite the different narrators, it was suspected that there was some connecting factor between them. Some common elements that were given included the names of beings that chased the victims, Yamanin, Yamagishi, Negishi, and so on, damage to the eyes, a portrayal of being pulled by the hair, and visiting a medium for advice only be met with anger. I suspected the videos had been made to bring the viewer into contact with entities from the other world. Kozukura was of the same opinion. That meant someone was spreading self-responsibility type net lore around with the goal of infecting an undetermined number of people. That was Lunarumi. We had reason to be confident of our guess was right because of her name. Luna, Urumi, moon, and opaque. Satsuki had the kanji for moon in it, and Urumi sounded similar to Aruma. I had even suspected it was her acting under a slightly changed name at first. However, according to Natsumi Ichikawa, Lunarumi was a high school girl wearing a sailor suit. Neither Kozukura nor Toriko knew anyone like that. I was looking at this with clearer eyes than them, and my theory was that this was another fangirl that Satsuki Aruma had created during her time as a tutor. They both must have suspected the same, but that they didn't say so showed how strong their lingering feelings for her were. Whatever the case, I needed to get to the truth behind who this uploader, who was referred to as Luna-sama in the comments, was, and her connection to Satsuki Aruma. Then, whether it was intentional or not, I needed to stop her from getting large numbers of random people involved with the other world. It was beyond dangerous and too much of a nuisance. That I could skip the preamble and explanation when I was dealing with Kozukura meant that the conversation went fast, and it was easy for us to accidentally wind up leaving Toriko out. I thought the sulky look Toriko got on her face when that happened was adorable. That's why I just gave a curt response and got on to talking with Kozukura. So the original video, the one that got reposted, was apparently making the rounds on a site for smartphones. See, that's the thing. If I'm being honest, I don't understand smartphone sites and apps all that well. You're the young ones here, so maybe you have some idea. Nope, not at all. Even though you were in high school just 2 years ago. Only people with a lot of friends use them. And you, Toriko? I got into university through a qualification exam. I barely even went to high school. What, are there nothing but loners in this room? Kozukura let out an exasperated sigh. Toriko shook her head. We're not anymore. You're making me cry. With a nasal laugh, Kozukura swiveled her chair back to look at the monitor. Maybe we should try asking your kohais again. They're even younger than the two of you, after all. I'm not keen on the idea, but maybe we should, I responded grudgingly. I didn't want to get Akari and Natsumi any more involved, though, setting Natsumi aside, I was scared that, if left to her own devices, it seemed likely Akari would carry another problem our way. There's no telling when those search results might vanish, too. There's no telling when those search results might vanish, too, so better grab a screenshot. Kozukura typed Luna Arumi into the browser's search bar and pressed the enter key. Then she froze in place. Huh? What is it? Kozukura silently pointed at the screen. Toriko and I looked over her shoulder. The browser showed just one search result. Runa Arumi's Whispered Ghost Stories. The Blue-Eyed Woman. Hey, do you think this kanji is read Arumi? I think so, probably. Sorobo-chan, was there one like this before? It's the first I've seen of it. It says, the blue-eyed woman. Toriko and Kozukura both stared at me, and it felt awkward. Well, look, it could be about dolls, you know? Like a French doll? The timing's a little too perfect for that, don't you think? She was right. The timing was too on point. No matter how much I searched before, I hadn't found anything, and yet here it was, showing up all of a sudden. It was like we were being watched. The three middle-aged ladies who had appeared at Kozukura's house the time of the time-spaceman crossed my mind. The information we were seeking was in front of our eyes, but we just stared at the screen, unable to move for a while. There was almost no information to be gleaned from the search results page, only that the link was to a YouTube page. The time on the thumbnail indicated the video was 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's try playing it. Huh? Kozukura looked up at me, eyes wide. Hold on. This is going to be a self-responsibility story too, isn't it? I have no doubts it is. You going to open it knowing that? Something's going to come for sure. Even if something comes, Toriko and I will deal with it. Right, Toriko? When I turned to her for confirmation, Toriko grinned. Yup, we're pros, after all. No. Kozukura was shaking her head. This is crazy. What are you getting so carried away for? But if we don't open it, we still won't know anything. Yeah, but still. I'll click. Pass me the mouse. I don't wanna. No. Kozukura shouted, and her chair immediately rolled backwards, mowing down a pile of books on the floor, at which point she jumped out of it and bolted out into the hall. I had never seen her move so fast. Kozukura-san? No way am I watching it. Are you out of your mind? I heard her shouting from the hall, and then a door slammed shut somewhere. You're being cruel to Kozukura, Sorobo. Well, yeah, I am. I looked from the door back to Toriko. I know what I said, but you should get away too, Toriko. Why? If you're watching it, I will too. Thanks. But you remember what happened with the Kotori Bako, right? I said, and Toriko frowned. That time, the Kotori Bako appeared when we carelessly read from Satsuki Aruma's notes, and Toriko and I nearly died. Satsuki Aruma had appeared with it, but that was a secret only I knew. I had no idea what would happen this time. For that reason, I felt it best to halve the risk. With my eye, if there's something abnormal, I can detect it. So, you go be with Kozukura, Toriko. Okay, Toriko said reluctantly. But scream right away if you're in danger, okay? I know. The video's 4 minutes 30 seconds, so if you haven't called me in 5 minutes, I'll come running, okay? Okay. Even after I'd replied to her, Toriko kept looking at me with a furrowed brow. I was about to tell her it'll be all right when Toriko suddenly moved. An instant later, I was in her embrace. Huh? I let out a strange cry and stiffened. The sensation of Toriko's warmth, her scent, her softness, and her firm muscles all filled my head. How many seconds did it last? Toriko hugged me for a while, then moved away. Be careful, okay? Okay. It's gonna be alright. I was still a little shaken up when I responded. Honestly, I had been calmer before she hugged me. After watching Toriko leave with a worried look still on her face, I closed the door. That surprised me. I wish she wouldn't do things like that so suddenly. I don't know how to respond. I took the Makarov from my bag, pulled the slide, and checked that it was loaded. I crouched next to the desk, gun in one hand, and grabbed the mouse. Honestly, I was scared too, but this wasn't a time to hesitate. If I didn't hurry, Toriko would get worried and come back. I took a deep breath to calm myself, then clicked the link. The screen changed to YouTube. The view count was in the single digits. The poster's name was Arnurm. Nothing was written in the video description. Holding the Makarov script tight with both hands, I focused on the video. There were a few moments of darkness, then a girl in a sailor suit appeared on the screen. It was a wide shot, from the front, at a slightly upwards angle, showing her mouth from her mouth down to about her stomach. The background was a dirty concrete wall, which was exactly the sort of thing you'd expect from a ruin. I focused with my right eye, searching for any hints of strangeness. I wasn't sure about the other side of the screen, but inside this room, around the PC, there was no silver halo appearing. Good evening. I'm Runa Urumi. What? The moment I heard the voice, a cold, throbbing numbness spread from my ears to my neck and down my back. It felt like something was running down my spine. Hello to any new viewers. And to the rest of you, hello again. It was an amateur voice, not sounding particularly theatrical. It didn't feel like she was a voice actor or a broadcaster or a pro with that sort of vocal training. If anything, she was stuttering a bit. But the voice itself was incredibly alluring. Please be careful. For everything past this point, you need to take responsibility for yourself. When you finish listening, something may happen to you. If you don't want that, stop the video now. Each time the girl spoke, the throbbing grew. It felt like she was whispering right next to my ear. It was my first time hearing a voice like this. Something entered through my ear, whirled around inside my head, and my consciousness spun around with it, as if being sucked in. Is that okay? Well then, once again, welcome to Runa Urumi's Whispered Ghost Stories. Today's story is The Blue-Eyed Woman. Sorbo! What? I jumped back because there was a shout in my ear. Are you okay? What happened? Toriko was standing next to me. I shook my head. What was I doing? Did I say anything? I asked. You were just standing by the window. Toriko looked out the window, perplexed. Outside the window, for some reason unknown to me, I had opened the blinds that were always closed and stood there, staring outside. The Makarov, which should have been in my hands, was laying on top of the desk. I had no memory of placing it there. There was nothing of particular note outside, just a mossy wall. The orange of the evening sun was shining into the room. How many minutes has it been? 5 minutes. How is the video? I looked back to the screen when she said that. The YouTube screen showed an exclamation mark inside a circle on a gray field. In other words, the video could not be found. Looks like it's gone, I mumbled, still feeling dazed. In the end, we still know nothing, Kozakura grumbled. Honestly, after making a huge fuss at someone else's house. You were the one making a fuss, Kozakura. Oh, be quiet, you idiot. We were on the way back to the station. I thought about what had happened while I listened to Toriko and Kozakura talking behind me. That poster uploaded the video to the net at the perfect time, and once I'd seen it, she pulled it down, like it had done its job. It was almost like we were being watched. Were we really being observed? Or was that another phenomenon from the other world? Either way, this wouldn't end here. If the video was of the self-responsibility type, something would happen to me for watching it. Hey, it's okay if you want to stay the night. It's already getting late. It's not that late out. It isn't even 7 o'clock yet. It's getting dark out. Kozakura kept talking to Toriko in a shrill voice behind me. This was the first time Kozakura had decided to come with us as far as the station when we were going home. Normally, she'd give us a curt get going and shoo us off, but it seemed she couldn't handle her fear today. If you insist, then okay, but do you have bedding ready for us? I don't, but you can sleep on the couch. We can't both sleep on the couch. Well, then stay up all night. I won't be sleeping either. What do you want to do, Sorobo? Toriko asked, and I responded without turning around. Kazakura-san, are you sure you want that? How so? I think something will be coming to me because I watched that video. If we're together, you'll be caught up in it. Yeah, she's right, Kazakura. I know you're scared, but I think you're better off sleeping alone tonight. I'm sure you two have it easy since you're together. Well, since we've come all the way to the station, do you want to get dinner? Once we get some alcohol in you, I'm sure your mood will... Oh, that was supposed to be Sorobo. Oh well. That's fine. I started to talk, but I felt something pull my hair from behind. Ow! Hey! Stop that! I turned around in indignation, but Kozakura and Toriko just stared blankly at me. They were about 3 meters behind, not a distance from which they could have pulled my hair. Huh? I thought, and then a moment later, the figure standing behind the two of them jumped into view. Satsuki Aruma. That shadow, which had never twitched before, suddenly moved. The black-clothed arm rose and reached for Toriko's shoulder. Toriko! I screamed and ran towards her. I grabbed her by the shoulder and pulled hard. Toriko fell forward, her hands on the ground. Ow! What was that for? I was hardly listening to Toriko. Right now, I was standing so close, I could have touched Satsuki Aruma. It reminded me of the time with Hishaku-sama. I slowly looked up, and Satsuki Aruma was looking down at me. Her 2 brilliant blue eyes, far deeper in color than my right eye, were like terrifying holes leading into the depths of the other world. I felt like I was going to fall into them, and I lost my head for a moment. That's when it happened. There was a sound of a car braking, and a white van pulled up right next to us. I looked a second later, and 2 men got out of the sliding door, which was already open, and grabbed me. Huh? Before I could respond, I was lifted up and thrown inside the van. I gasped as I struck the floor, which was covered by a rubber sheet. There were 2 more men inside the vehicle, and they held me down and covered my head with a bag. Who are these guys? The moment I tried to resist, I felt a sharp pain in my neck. As I was thinking I've been stabbed with something, I was struck by an intense drowsiness. The strength slipped right out of me. Forget resisting. I couldn't even keep my eyes open. There was someone lying next to me, and they groaned. Toriko! There was the sound of footsteps, and the body of the vehicle sank. The door slid shut, the engine roared, and the van suddenly accelerated. Someone was outside shouting my name. Beneath the waves of drowsiness, my consciousness sank into the darkness. Hello, Pardue. Hello, CJ. Thank you guys for the check-in. I hope you're doing well tonight. Also, oh my gosh, a 35 stream streak. Project Zero, thank you so much. Okay. I need to... put this ad timer right there where I can see it. Okay. Chapter 3. Sorobo. Sorobo. Someone was calling my name. Come on, wake up. Toriko? Where am I? Hurry. You have to burn them. Hurry. I suddenly snapped back into consciousness. When I opened my eyes, my vision was obstructed by the bag over my head. The rough fabric allowed just a little light through. There was a lingering drowsiness, probably from the drugs, which made my head throb. My whole body felt sluggish, and I wanted to lie down as soon as humanly possible. I tried to move, but found that my hands and feet were bound. My whole body felt sluggish, and I wanted to lie down. Wait, I just read that, sorry. I was sitting in a chair with my hands tied behind my back. There was a groan from beside me. Had Toriko been caught too? I panicked and was about to call out to her, but I sensed the presence of other people. I see you're awake. It was a man's voice. Footsteps approached me from behind, and the bag was pulled from my head. A concrete floor and walls filled my widening field of view. The area I was in was wide and dark with no windows. It felt like the ruins of some sort of manufacturing facility. There were several men and women surrounding us at a distance, their eyes on us. They wore everything from a suit to a t-shirt and jeans. All unfamiliar faces. No. Wait. I recognized the one. The suspicious woman who had called out to us in Ikebukuro this afternoon. When our eyes met, she jumped a little and looked away, then hid behind another person. I turned to the side, wondering if Toriko was all right, and what I saw caught me by surprise. The one tied to a chair only a few meters away from me wasn't Toriko. It was Kozukura. Having not yet fully regained her senses, she was scowling and shaking her head. Who are you people? I don't remember doing anything that would get me kidnapped, Kozukura asked in a husky voice. You don't look like Yakuza. Are you looking for ransom? Sorry, but my assets are limited, and she's just a broke student. Did you mistake us for someone else in the neighborhood? There's been no mistake here, Kozukura-san. I shuddered at the voice from behind me. I knew that voice. That all-too-alluring voice that was soft, sensitive, and seemed to creep inside my head through my ears. The owner of that voice approached with heavy steps, passing in between Kozukura and me, and then turning to face us from the front. It was a schoolgirl in a cardigan and sailor suit. Her hair was quite long, with braids tied into circles on the sides of her head before they flowed down her back. Her eyes narrowed in satisfaction as she looked at us, sitting there, unable to move. It was my first time seeing her face, but I knew her immediately. Runa Arumi. One second here, we do have a picture. Let me see here. Nope, wrong side of it. Hang on. There we are. So, there is Runa. I'm gonna leave it up here while I'm on this page. Whoops. That's right. Runa Urumi clapped for me and then said, Sorry for scaring you. Are you feeling all right? I did ask them not to use anything too powerful on you at least. Oh, don't mind all these people. They're really useful though. They'll do anything I tell them to. Giggling, Runa Urumi continued. Oh, so like I was saying, I have some important business with Kozukura-san. What? I've been thinking I'd like you to tell me about Satsuki-sama. Kozukura looked up at Runa Urumi's face and was quiet for a moment. That's why you abducted me? Just to ask that? I mean, if I asked you normally, I'm sure you wouldn't tell me. One of the onlookers brought out another chair. Runa Urumi sat down, as if that were the perfectly natural thing to do here, and turned to face us. I did my research. You were collaborating with Satsuki-sama to research the Blue World. Until she went missing, you and Toriko Nishino were the ones closest to her. Am I right? Kozukura made no attempt to answer. The Blue World must have been their name for the other side. In a voice tinged with exasperation, Kozukura asked, You're a Satsuki fan? You're in high school, aren't you? When did you meet her? Just how many underage girls has she laid her hands on? Oh, trying to pull the seniority card. Not cool, Kozakura-san, Runa said teasingly. Here's the thing. I've never met Satsuki-sama. Huh? If we're being exact, I've heard of her, but we've never spoken. Seeing the dubious looks on mine and Kozakura's faces, Runa began proudly telling her story. I've been a streamer since I was in middle school. It's just that back then I didn't really do PVs, you know. Though, let's be blunt, I wasn't popular at all. I tried changing apps and did all sorts of stuff, but I stayed buried. Just when I was thinking of giving up, there was this time when I was listening to other people's ASMR videos to use them as a reference. Oh, do you know what ASMR is? Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Kozakura responded instantly, and Runa clapped her hands. That's the end of that page. So we have ads about to start here in just a couple seconds. I don't know if those ads are going to play for anybody on this, because in the past we have had luck with them not playing on ASMR streams. However, I don't know if that's true or not, so I am taking a break here, and I'll chat with you guys here, and once we're back from ads and I know whether or not they've actually been playing, the next break we get to, I may or may not just continue reading, depending on whether or not the ads have been playing. So, this is a good opportunity if you guys have any redeems you want to put in, to go ahead and do that. Those of you who are subscribed and have the means to not see the ads. Good chance for that, because I can go ahead and do that while we're on break. But, yeah. I'll see you guys back here in a couple minutes. Those of you who are going to be in ads, assuming that they happen. If you're not subscribed, then please let me know in chat if you're seeing ads. Of course, the middle of my sentence while I was saying that, the ad break started. So, still kind of upset about this change. Me too. I don't like it. But, go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. So, let me see here. I think there's probably a couple people in chat right now who don't have, I believe don't have subscriptions, I think. So if you can hear me right now and you're not subscribed, please tell me in chat so that I know that the ads aren't actually happening. Go, 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 go. You've learned the hard way that you should not put the cases of soda in the fridge in the original packaging? No? I mean, sometimes that's okay. Unless, did something happen? Did they explode? Hopefully not, but, like, I know a lot of soda packaging has water bonded the cardboard to your fridge. Oh. Yeah, that'd do it. That's no good. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. How did the soda cases get wet? I mean, there's a lot of ways that could happen. But, yeah, no, water in the fridge on things, not usually a good thing. You usually don't want that kind of humidity, that kind of moisture in the fridge. That can be bad. Since I don't have any comments from chat about not seeing ads, if you're not subscribed, I'm going to assume that the ads were actually playing. So, yeah. That's unfortunate. I think they are in ads. I believe they are. That is probably true. We've got 15 seconds of ads left before people are back, and then we will continue on with the story. But it does mean that whenever we have these ad breaks here tonight, I will be stopping the story in order to just kind of chat with you guys and stuff. But we're back from ads now. Welcome back from ads, everybody. Again, please let me know if they happened to not play, but that way I can not worry about doing the break next time. But I'm going to assume that they are playing for now, so. So I'm going to go ahead and start back from here again, just for the sake of the story flow. I've been a streamer since I was in middle school. It's just that back then, I didn't really do PVs, you know? Though, let's be blunt, I wasn't popular at all. I tried changing apps and did all sorts of stuff, but I stayed buried. Just when I was thinking of giving up, there was this time when I was listening to other people's ASMR videos to use them as a reference. Oh, do you know what ASMR is? Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. Kazuka responded instantly, and Rina clapped her hands. Nice! Yeah, that. You probably got it. What's that? I whispered, and Kazuka responded with no humor. In broad terms, she's talking about sound fetish videos. Recordings of sounds like cutting hair, typing, flipping pages, and other things that it feels good to listen to. Yeah, ear cleaning and whispers are popular, but what I found then was a sound like nothing I'd ever heard before. You got into 18+ stuff? Hey, don't ask dumb questions like that, Rina said in no uncertain terms, then got this enraptured look on her face. It was the sound of God. Kozakura and I looked at each other. Even now, I can remember it clearly. The video was titled Blue World. The thumbnail was a blonde foreign girl, but that was probably just some license-free photo. I listened, and I couldn't tell what the sound was at first. It sounded like it might be the boundless sky and the wind blowing through it, or perhaps of sinking deep into the sea. It was a mysterious sound, and I wondered what it was as I listened, and then God appeared. What do you mean, God? Something really big, really scary, and completely inhuman floated up out of that sound. Big, scary, and inhuman? Isn't that... I whispered to myself, and Runa nodded passionately. Yes, God, of course. I was completely shocked. I mean, here I was listening to ASMR, and God appeared inside my head. You'd never see that coming, huh? Well, no, I don't suppose I would. I got surprised and scared, but for some reason I just couldn't stop listening. As I did, the words of a woman who would convey the word of God came out. That was... Satsuki. Yes, Satsuki-sama. And in that moment I understood. I'd lived all of this time for her. And from now on, I would always live for her. That realization made me drop to my knees then and there. Satsuki-sama touched me inside the sound and bestowed upon me a gift. That is my voice, the gift of the blue world, which will make anyone do as I say. I know exactly what I should use it for, too. Does that video still exist? You want to hear it now, too? Well, sorry, it's gone. I mean, once I finished listening to it myself, it was gone before I realized. I couldn't find it in the search. It wasn't in my local cache. There was no play data left. I don't even remember how I came across it in the first place. That's why I even started to doubt there ever was a video. But I had clear memories of it, and I remembered to the point that I could play it back in my head. I'm sure the video changed its form into the voice and entered me. That is what they call a revelation, right? What was this story? A sound burned into her memory by a video that it was doubtful existed. An unknown god? The sudden appearance of Satsuki Aruma in this disorganized tale, and her gift. In a low voice, Kozukura asked, "And that's how you came to worship Satsuki?" "Worship, yes. I worship Satsuki-sama, the lady who bestowed this voice on me, the messenger of the blue world. I already know she exists. I am chasing after her, hoping to meet her just once more." No matter how you slice it, that's bizarre. You're crazy. All of you. Not all of us. I'm the only one who worships Satsuki. The rest of them worship me. When Rina looked to the people surrounding us, they nodded passionately. Even in the dim light, I could see the redness of their cheeks and the moistness of their eyes. I could feel an intense furrowing of my brow. I knew these guys were a cult. The thought had occurred to me because of that thank you woman was with them, but I wasn't happy to be proven right. You can't reason with cultists. No matter what their object of worship was, all of the types of groups in this world, they were the ones I wanted the least to be involved with. Honestly, when it came to cultists, I'd be happier dealing with monsters from the other world. Maybe she felt my eyes on her because Rina Rumi spun around to face me. "Oh, right. One other thing I wanted you to tell me. Who are you?" "You kidnapped me without knowing?" "Honestly, they were supposed to bring me Kozukura-san and Nishina-san, but surprise, they brought me some girl I don't know." "I'm terribly sorry." There was a loud voice from behind us. I twisted my neck to look back there, and there were 4 men on their hands and knees groveling behind us. The men who had kidnapped me and Kozukura, I suppose.
"Forgive us, please, Luna-sama. Let us try again. I swear we'll not disappoint you this time."
The men were shouting, but Rina gave a disinterested sigh. "Well, what's done is done. So, who were you again? What do you have to do with Satsuki-sama?" "That's my student. No connection to Satsuki," Kozukura answered before I could. "Student? Even though you're not a professor?" "She's a weirdo who comes all the way to my house just to learn from me." "She has some dangerous toys for a simple weirdo, though." One of the cultists brought my tote bag to Runa. She peered inside and pulled out the Makarov, still in its holster. "You've been to the blue world too, I see. I'm right, aren't I?" When I didn't answer, Runa took her hand off the Makarov. "I mean, it's that eye." Runa rose from her chair, walked in front of me, and looked closely at my face. "This isn't an implant, or a color contact. Wow, just what did you have to look at to end up with an eye like that?" "Luna-sama, it's dangerous. That woman has the evil eye," the thank you woman shouted from behind us. "Evil eye? The demonic eye that brings calamity. You mustn't let her look at you. It will harm your body." Is that a fact?" That question was directed at me, though I didn't know how to answer it. I don't know." If it's that scary, maybe we ought to pluck it out." The moment Runa said that, one of the men standing behind us pulled out a knife and stepped forward. I tried to flee in terror, but my hands and feet wouldn't move an inch. I was bound to the chair using the sort of plastic zip ties that were generally used to hold cables together. No way. They couldn't carve out someone's eye that easily. As I stared at the dull gleam of the knife, unable to believe the situation I was in, Rina let out a cheery laugh. "I was joking, just joking. You can stand down now." At Runa's instruction, the man obediently returned to his former position. I was terrified as Runa looked down at me and smiled. "They're all so docile. They love my voice, and they'll do anything I order them to. Even if I don't clearly tell them what to do, they can read what I might want and are one step ahead of me. If I hadn't stopped him, you wouldn't have that eye right now." Runa reached out and stroked my cheek. "But that would be a shame, wouldn't it? It's such a pretty eye.
Is this a gift from the blue world, too?
Unable to utter a word in response, I just took shallow breaths and stared at Runa's face. Hey, she's not involved. If you have something you want to ask me, Kozakura interjected. Runa took her hand off me and walked over to Kozakura. That's true. I was originally planning to interview you, after all. Runa walked around behind Kozakura and whispered in her ear.
Now, to start off, will you tell me the girl with one blue eye's name?
Kozakura let out a shrill cry and ducked her head. She was supposed to be whispering, but I'd been able to hear her too, even at this distance. Her voice was alluring enough, but this was on a whole other level. There was clearly some kind of mode shift happening. It was bad enough hearing it nearby, but who knows what would happen to me if she whispered right in my ear. Kozakura twitched and stiffened in her chair. Her eyes widened, and goosebumps rose on her neck.
Hey, tell me, what's her name?
Ka, Mikoshi, Zoro, whoa.
And how do you write that?
The kami is paper, and the koshi is the etsu of joetsu. Kozakura submitted to the voice and spilled the information. Suddenly, I noticed the believer's eyes were fixated on Kozakura as she was interrogated. They all looked incredibly jealous, with flushed faces. It was super gross. The worst kind of scene.
You're Kamakoshi-san, huh?
Nice to meet you. When Runa stood upright, Kozakura slumped like a marionette with her strings cut.
Would you mind waiting just a moment? I'll have your other friend, Nishina-san, brought along in no...
Don't you touch Toriko! I shouted despite myself. Kozakura and Runa both looked at me in surprise.
Oh, I see. You're Nishina-san's partner then, huh?
Nodding in satisfaction at her own explanation, Runa moved away from Kozakura and approached me. She wrapped her arms around me from behind the chair and brought her lips to my ear. Then she spoke in a low whisper.
I'm sure you can tell me some interesting things too.
I froze with fear. It reminded me of seeing a picture of hell as a child and being terrified by a punishment where molten metal was poured into every hole of a person's body. That was what Runa Arumi's voice made me remember. It felt like cold, liquid metal was being poured in my ear. This was nothing like the whispered ghost story I'd heard through the speakers while watching her on the other side of the monitor. It was a voice with weight, pressure, and a numbing electric sensation. If I kept listening to this voice, it would ruin me. I'd go completely mad. Even though I was certain of that, all I could do was listen. Runa whispered,
I'll do you later, okay? For now, sit still.
Stop!
Shh. Quiet. Good night, Sorowo Kamakoshi-san.
The liquid metal filled my brain and flowed down my spine. It pushed into my mind, and I was helpless to stop it. I somehow wound up on a very different page. Hang on 1 second. Thank you for the posture check, Callian. And the hydrate. 1 second. Okay, there we are. Thank you for the hydrate. Let me see here. And okay.
Had a bad weekend. Glad to hear the story. Thank you for the lurk support, Callium.
go. Okay. Chapter 4. I was thrown down on a mattress, and my eyes snapped open. As I quickly tried to sit up, I watched the door close with a loud noise right before my eyes. It was a rusty metal door. It was locked from the outside, and I realized I'd been locked in. My head felt awfully heavy. I felt like if I relaxed, that voice would come back to me, the spine-tingling sensation of Rina's voice. I stood up on shaky legs and surveyed my prison. There was a window much too high for me to reach, and a flickering fluorescent light. There was an air vent at about the same height, but even if I had been able to climb that high, there was a metal lid on it, so it wouldn't do me any good. The door had a covered peephole at about eye level. If I poked my finger into it, I could see out from inside, too. Hi, Pojo. Where was I? Sorry. If I poked my finger into it, I could see out from inside, too. I pressed my face to the door and looked out, but the cultist who had thrown me in here was nowhere to be seen. The footsteps got more distant, and soon I could no longer hear them at all. I could only see a very small area. The hall 5 meters to the left and right, and the metal door on the wall across from this one. It was probably another confinement room like this one. I removed my finger, and the lid lowered, closing the peephole. The only things in the room were a beat-up mattress and a worn blanket. There was a Western-style toilet in one corner of the room. It had running water, at least. It reminded me of the New York-style room we'd stayed down in Okinawa. I had thought it was like a jail cell then, but I never expected to get chucked into a place like this myself. I took a deep breath. As I closed my eyes and stayed put, the sensations I had felt during that time came back to me. That time back during high school, when I was being chased around by the cult my father and grandmother joined. The anger, irritation, and painful determination not to let things go anyone else's way. I detected a hot, dry smell, like the kind made when you used a frying pan without water or oil, deep in my nose. With each careful breath, many things fell away from my thoughts. Uncertainty, worry, confusion. What would I do when I got out of here? Should I go to the police? What was happening to Kozakura? Was Toriko still alright? I chased all these things from my head. I focused my mind on the highest priority. How was I going to get out of here and survive? I hadn't felt the sensation in a while. I'd rather never have tasted it again. I worried I'd gotten completely rusty, too. But you were waiting inside me all this time, huh? Welcome home, me. I'm home, me. It felt like the anti-cult mode me I had built up over my middle and high school years was welcoming me back. But when I was in this mode, I thought of almost nothing but what was essential. That inclination had let me escape countless times. The time I escaped out the bathroom window with my mind in a hazy state after my grandmother drugged me. The time I shut myself in the shed on the roof of a cultist-owned building. The time I slid down a rain pipe from the 5th floor of a building. The time I was chased by guys with dogs out in the mountains. She had saved me a good number of times before all the cultists died and I was set free. The me of this mode was reliable. If I thought about it, I had to wonder why. With all the times Toriko and I had been in danger in the other world, I hadn't entered this mode once there. It was strange that she hadn't shown her face once, despite the threat to my life. I slapped my cheeks with both hands. That was enough reminiscing. It was time to switch over. The fundamental method for dealing with a situation of confinement was to build a trusting relationship with the people imprisoning you, to greet them, talk about your family and yourself, and to thank them when they brought you food, to never show fear and give the impression that you are an equal human being in everything you do. However, that method assumed long-term confinement. I couldn't use it here. I was facing Runa Arumi. Her encounter of the fourth kind had given her a seductive voice that completely took control of her followers. Any time that passed put me at a greater disadvantage. I needed to escape as soon as possible. Besides, I had no intent of seeing my enemies as human. I searched the cell once more. Blanket, mattress, toilet. I went to work, looking for anything that could be of use. The dingy mattress was coming apart at the seams. I shoved the fingers of both my hands inside and tore. I ripped off the outside and exposed the insides of it. Springs were peeking through the flattened cotton. I pulled out a number of them and checked how firm they were. The parts from near the center of the mattress were pretty worn, and I could twist them, even in my bare hands. I checked the toilet. The seat was rickety, and I could probably tear it off, but it was plastic and didn't seem like it likely to be of much use. It was dirty, too. I tried to take the lid off the tank, but it was cocked shut, and I couldn't. What about the handle on the side of the tank for flushing? When I grabbed it and gave it a rattle, the base of it was pretty loose. This might work. I grabbed it with the blanket, put my feet against the tank, and used my weight to pull as hard as I could. The handle broke off at the base, and I landed flat on my back. Ow! Regardless, I still had the handle in my hands, and this toilet would never flush again. I reflected that I probably should have used it first, but it was too late for that now. I pressed a spring against the handle and wrapped the metal wire around it as I stretched it out. The wire was curled, so it was hard work. The edge of the toilet tank served as a jig, too. Even with that, by the time I'd wrapped 4 of them around it, my hands hurt pretty bad. Regardless, I had a jumble of metal with considerable weight to it now. It wasn't a weapon. Even if I hit someone in the face with it, with my strength, it wasn't going to be more than a distraction. This tool served another purpose. I stretched out another spring to create a wire. Then I opened the peephole on the door again, and used the wire to keep it propped open. I listened closely, but I heard nothing. Okay. I was ready to go. I put the blanket over my head. I looked up to the ceiling. I threw the hunk of metal at the weak shine of the fluorescent light. The first time it missed, hit the wall, and fell back down. It was hard to throw straight up. I got as close to the wall as I could and made another attempt. It hit the ceiling, it bounced off the walls, and it came down on my head. I tried and tried again. When I eventually hit the light, it just bounced off and came back down. While I was doing this, my neck and shoulders started to hurt. I stopped to massage them a bit, then got back to it. Again and again. Right around the time I got to thinking that maybe I should make a sling from the edge of the mattress, I hit it for the 5th time, and perhaps due to the accumulated damage, there was a small explosion as the glass finally shattered. I hurriedly turned my face downward, and fine pieces of glass rained down on the blanket over my head. When I opened my eyes, the room was pitch dark. There was a single sliver of light shining in from the peephole on the door. Outside of that, it was all darkness. I brushed off the shards of glass and sat by the wall. After all that work, my right arm was clearly at its limit. I sat in the darkness with the blanket over me and waited. I thought I could get them to open the door. I had no solid plan for what happened after that. I wish I had a gun. Saying that's not going to help, though. I'm counting on you, Me. Well, I'll give it a go, Me.
Thank you so much for the follow.
I'd survived on a spur-of-the-moment decisions up until now. Surely it would work out this time, too. I wouldn't consider any other possibility. It was pointless to. For instance... Oh, sorry. Still, as I sat there alone, the thoughts I'd set aside started to cross my mind. For instance... Yeah, that doubt I'd had before. Why had I never entered this mode while exploring the other world? I ended up racking my brains every time, and my life was definitely on the line, but it was clearly different than my anti-cult mode. The one thing that might have been a little close was the time with the Time Spaceman, when I was chasing after Torika when she went missing. The reason I hadn't been confused when I encountered a doppelganger in the glitch was because I had this sort of experience. No, well, that doppelganger might be a separate entity from this mode of me, though. What was the difference? I heard footsteps outside the door, and I stood up. They're here. I lay in wait as the footsteps drew nearer, then stopped in front of the door. I saw 2 men through the peephole, as well as Kozakura's head as she was being held up by them. Huh? One of the men let out a suspicious grunt. What's up? Hey, why is this open? He brought his face close to the window, and it blocked out the light from the corridor. The room got even darker.
Hello, is it Lottie? Welcome in. How's it going?
Sorry, I lost my place here. Okay. He brought his face close to the window, and it blocked out the light from the corridor. The room got even darker. He shouldn't have been able to see much of anything. Maybe just my right eye reflecting the light a bit. I focused my consciousness on my right eye and looked directly at the man peering into the room. The man stopped and seemed to look back at me. The light was behind him, leaving his face shadowed. What kind of expression was he making? It didn't matter. I continued to look at him, eye unswerving. That's when I realized something strange. The man had a silver halo around his head. The phosphorescence stuck out from both of his ears, writhing like slugs. Could it be that I was seeing Runa Arumi's power of control? With his head wrapped in light, the man silently used a key to open the door. Hey, put this one in her room first. The man's hand stopped, and no sooner had he turned back to the other man who raised his voice than I heard a dull thud. There was a groan of shock and pain, then the sound of something being slammed into the door across the hall, which made an incredible echo. The one who'd been taken out slumped to the ground. I thought I heard his ragged breath for a while, then the original man came back to this door. He grumbled as he turned the key and opened it. Past the man blocking the doorway, I saw another man leaning against the door across the hall, unconscious. What the hell? Why'd I go and do that? The man stumbled into the room. It's your fault, huh? It's gotta be you. The way this was going, he'd beat me to death. I needed to create an opening. As I kept looking, without averting my eye, the slug-like phosphorescence in his head began to wriggle around. Ugh. The man groaned and majorly stumbled. He collapsed to the floor, touching himself with both hands. Now. I threw the blanket that had been on my head at him as a distraction and charged towards the door. The man shouted something as he tried to seize me, but I narrowly dodged him and got out into the hall. Putting both hands on the door which opened outwards, I slammed it with all my strength. Noticing there was a door bolt, I slammed it in. There was a voice that seemed to be weeping, or convulsing with laughter, inside the room. I helped Kozakura, who was lying on the ground beside me, to her feet. She was so light that it surprised me. Are you okay, Kozakura-san? Sora-chan. What about you? I'm fine. Can you stand? I don't know. Let me hold on to you. Kozakura stood on unsteady legs and tried to catch her breath. What did you do to these guys, Sora-chan? Used my right eye. Drove them crazy, I replied. Kozakura looked at me like she couldn't believe it. Sora-chan. Yes? You're not normal, are you? I'm focused. Oh. Okay, then. Kozakura looked at me dubiously. We're going. Let's hurry up and get out of here. If you're having trouble walking, please hold on to me. Okay. Kozakura clung to my arm. She looked really frazzled. She shook her head over and over, maybe trying to chase away the haziness. Are you okay? That voice sure is crazy, huh? Yeah. Sorry. I probably blabbed a whole lot of stuff to Luna-sama. About you, Sora-chan. Luna-sama? When I repeated that, Kozakura's eyes widened and she stopped talking. This is seriously bad. If I go nuts, you escape without me, Sora-chan. Will do. I gave her a frank nod, and Kozakura sighed. Sora-chan, you really are a psychopath, huh? She shook her head in dismay. I gave her a somewhat miffed response. I've been meaning to say this for a while, but that's not a word you should be casually throwing around at people, is it? Isn't this harassment? Oh, shove off if this counts as harassment when what you're doing to me is straight up abuse. Why? I'm trying to save you here. Not now, I mean how you normally treat me. Please don't talk nonsense. As we argued in hushed voices, Kozakura and I quickly walked through the cult building. Thank you for the head pats, and hello, King Coffee, and Ian, how's it going? Thank you for the check-in. Chapter 5. There were a total of 4 confinement rooms. We looked at all of them, just in case, but they were all empty, so we hurried on our way. When I was brought here, I'd been rendered unconscious by Runa's voice, so I didn't know which way we had come. I tried asking Kozakura, but she'd been pretty out of it and couldn't tell me anything I could rely on as a fact. We had little to go on. There had to be enemies in the direction Kozakura came from, so we were forced to go the opposite way. The floor and the walls in the hall were concrete. There were fluorescent lights placed at intervals on a ceiling, and not a single window. This is probably underground, huh? Looks like it. It feels like we went down a flight of stairs. We were trying to talk in hushed voices, but it echoed more than expected. Looking at one another, we held our breath. Was that a voice in the distance? I couldn't be certain. I felt like there were traces of Runa's voice still clinging to the inside of my eardrums. If I kept quiet, I could hear the whispers coming back to me. We'll need to find a way up. Let's look for stairs, I said. Kozakura nodded. Still not up to walking on your own? Sorry. It's okay. Let's go. As I walked down the hall with Kozakura hanging off of one of my arms, there came a path that diverged off to the right. The way ahead was coming to a dead end soon, and the two doors there had signs indicating they led to the men's and women's restrooms. Want to go fix your makeup, Sorobo-chan? I thought you weren't in the habit of going to the bathroom together with other people. Did I say that? If anyone came after us, there'd be nowhere to run, so please try to hold it in. Let's try going this way. We turned right in front of the washrooms, and the hall soon came to a dead end at a heavy-looking metal door. There was a lever we could move to retract the bolt on the door, allowing us to open it. Was this not so much a door as a hatch? I put my ear to it, but I couldn't hear anything, maybe because the metal was so thick. There was no time to waste wandering around, so I gave the lever a pull. There was a loud clacking sound as the door bolt disengaged. The metallic sound echoed down the corridor and faded away. I watched and waited for a moment, then slowly opened the hatch. It was pitch black inside. I felt around next to the door and managed to locate a switch. The lights came on when I pressed it, instantly brightening the area in front of me. Once my eyes adjusted to the brightness, there was a narrow hall ahead, and 6 more rooms with peepholes and their doors on either side of it. There were sounds of stirring inside the rooms, but no voices. There was another door at the end of the hall. This one was a wooden door, its paint stripped by dampness and mold, and all it had was a simple doorknob with no keyhole. More confinement rooms? This is a long way from where we were taken, though. Shh, I'm gonna take a peek. I opened a crack in the peephole of the nearest door and peered in. There was a slapping sound from inside, and it was clear someone was there. In the dim lighting, I could see a room that was close to 7 square meters. Once my eyes adjusted, I could see the whole floor was padded. So were the walls. It's pretty different from the room they put me in, I was thinking, when something fell from the ceiling and slammed into the ground. It was a person. In front of my shocked eyes, the person who had just fallen slowly stood up. It was a man. He was wearing a slightly dirty pink shirt with slacks. His feet were bare. The man's neck was twisted in my direction. The sides of his face were smushed completely flat. His eyes, nostrils, and mouth looked like clay that had been whacked against the wall, just slits on a flat surface. Despite this, he didn't seem to be in any pain at all. The next moment, he vanished. Then some seconds later, he slammed into the floor once again. I gently closed the peephole's cover. What is it? Kozakura asked. It's a 4th kind. Huh? There's a 4th kind in there. A person who'd experienced physical changes to their body and mind as a result of the influence of the other world. A 4th kind contactee. Toriko and I had also had encounters of the 4th kind, and I had no doubt Runa Arumi had too. But we learned afterwards that we'd been fairly lucky. It seemed that in most cases, people who were in contact with the other world underwent a serious transformation. Even if they survived, they could never go back to the life they had before. The others may have noticed this because the sounds from beyond the other doors grew louder. There were sounds like the grinding of teeth, the rough sounds of 2 long objects grinding together. They were muffled, perhaps by padding, but none of them were the sounds a sane human being would make. Just like we had seen at the DS lab, there were a number of 4th kinds interned here, too. Do you want to look? I turned and asked Kozakura, but she shook her head vigorously. Do you think they're trying to treat the victims too? I don't know. The rooms are padded, at least. When we opened the wooden door in the back, we discovered it was a closet. There was an LED lantern, the type you might use while camping, hanging from the end of the steel rack, and there were bags of goldfish food, fertilizer for plants, car batteries and chains, army gloves and more, a bunch of cleaning supplies in a tall, thin locker, like the kind you might see in a school. The end of a mop was stained with a bright green liquid. Looks like another dead end here. Damn, do we have to go back? When we turned back to the hatch, I noticed a noise. I heard several sets of footsteps coming from down the hall.
People are coming.
For the toilet? There's more than one or two of them. I pulled the handle inside the hatch, trying to close it as quietly as possible. Then I pushed the switch next to the door. That left the LED lantern as our sole source of light. We're going to hide. Get in the back. Hurry. But where? The locker's the only place. You go on ahead. Seriously? I hurried Kozakura along, and we got in the locker together. I reached to turn off the lantern, plunging us into complete darkness. If we closed the door, it would be too tight. I'd likely end up crushing Kozakura. Are you okay? That reply sounded unhappy. It seemed like she could breathe, though, so we were good. With the closet door in the way, I could hardly hear the fourth kinds anymore. All we could hear in the suffocating darkness was our own breath. I was breathing fast, and so was Kozakura. Her body was quivering. Oh, right. Now that I thought about it, she was way more prone to fear than I was. I heard the echo of a hatch opening. Multiple sets of footsteps came inside, and they were talking. We'll use number 2 and number 3. Bring the chains. Okay. What about number 5? Number 5 kills too often. I want to pull out immediately once we have what we're after. It would be fine if we were going to kill them all, but now is not the appropriate time for that. Understood. The door to the closet opened, and a light shone through the long, thin air holes in the locker door. I could feel Kozakura stiffen. It'd be bad if she cried out. I instinctively hugged her head close, pressing it against my belly. She'd have to put up with a little discomfort. The guys who came into the closet were right beside the locker, rummaging through the things on the steel rack. I heard the clinking of chains. Kozakura started to shake harder and harder in my arms. I needed to calm her down, but how? There's nothing else I could do, so I tried patting her on the head. Surprisingly, Kozakura's shaking stopped. This was effective? I was dubious. Kozakura didn't move at all. I started to suspect that she had suffocated and died. The guy left the closet with the chains. And I heard them open a metal door. There was a mumbling voice, somewhere between man and beast. The sound of metal fittings and chains continued for a while. We're good to go. Good. We'll hurry to the round hole. The footsteps, which had increased in number, left in a hurry, and the hatch closed hard. We waited for about a minute, but there was no sign of them coming back. I let out the breath I'd been holding, and finally realized I'd been patting Kozakura's head all this time. I stopped, then pushed open the locker door. It's all right now. I moved away from her and went outside. The closet and cell doors were left wide open, the lights still on. Looks like those guys were in a real hurry. I turned back because there was no response. And Kozakura was still in the locker, scrutinizing me. Her face was a bright shade of red, perhaps because she'd been having trouble breathing. Kozakura-san, why did you pat it? Huh? What? Why did you pat my head just now? I figured I needed to get you to calm down a bit. Kozakura's shoulders heaved with each breath. Did I do something to offend you? Don't you ever touch my... No, damn it. Come again? It's fine. Forget it. Kozakura shook her head, finally getting out of the locker. At some point, she'd recovered enough to walk on her own. For some reason, she kept her distance from me, peering dubiously into the open cells instead. This isn't for treatment. They're keeping the fourth kind like pets. Think they can make them obey? I don't know. What I can say is none of the patients at the DS labs understood words, but... At that moment, one of the iron doors was struck from the inside. Kozakura jumped into the air and clung to me. What? When I saw the number 5 above the door, the conversation from earlier flashed through my mind. Number 5 kills too often, they'd said. There was a howling voice. I couldn't imagine those were human words. There was another bang on the door. It repeated again. Each time, the hinges holding it to the wall shrieked. Let's get going. This guy knows we're here, I said, and Kozakura nodded vigorously. I took the lantern from the closet and opened the hatch. Peering out through the crack, I confirmed there was no one around, then returned to the hall. Once the hatch was closed, I could no longer hear number 5's howling. What was that? Did you see it, Tsurubo-chan? I haven't looked, but that guy's messed up bad. I held up the lantern and jogged down the hall, stopping at the corner. On the right were the toilets from before, and a dead end. On the left was the path we initially came down. I heard footsteps from there again, more of them than last time. There were probably more than 5 people. Let's hide in the toilets until they pass by. What if they come in? From what I saw earlier, she has more male followers than female. If we hide in the ladies' toilet, they might not find us immediately. We rushed into the women's room. Surprisingly, it wasn't that filthy inside. The pastel-covered tiles reflected the lantern's light. It was a night and day difference between this and the unsophisticated interiors we'd passed by so far. I headed for the door that was furthest back, looking to hide in one of the stalls. What? Kozukura muttered in surprise. There was no toilet in the stall, only concrete stairs leading down. Oh, I know this one, I said, despite myself. What do you mean you know it? This is the round hole in the base... Numi! Oh my gosh, hello! Welcome in, Numi! Welcome in! Thank you for the raid! Let me see here. How... Catch up! Ah, double raid! Let's go! Hello, hello! Oh my gosh, you guys, how was your streams? Hello, everybody. Numi, how was Alice Madness Returns? How was your stream? How was the game? And catch up, how was your ASMR stream? I hope you guys had good streams. I hope they were wonderful. This was totally planned. I bet. If not for the fact that the Numi was playing a game rather than ASMR, I would have actually thought it was a double raid. That's wild timing. Welcome in, you two. Very good. I'm glad. Hello, everybody who came in with both Numi and Catch-Up's raids. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Sucrose Yurishigeki, Kumajo in training. I am a variety streamer and a magical girl bear VTuber, and I mostly focus on retro style content. When I'm not doing ASMR streams, that is. On Sunday nights, I do cozy content and ASMR streams. Tonight we're doing a Storytime stream. I am reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic. Stream was good. Chat kept you busy with trigger requests tonight. Fantastic. Guys, Numi, if you don't know Numi, she is a fellow bear VTuber and a good friend. We used to be in a VTuber group together called the Kuma Collective, and super cool streamer. Tapping, absolutely. I will get that for you in 1 second. You've never seen the Blanky model? Thank you. It's a blanket over my normal model, but yeah, it's still good. Catch-Up and Numi, Numi is an awesome variety streamer. Catch-Up is an awesome ASMR streamer. Both of them are great. Please go check them both out. They're both amazing. Also, Numi and Catch-Up, if either one of you has an ASMR request you'd like to ask for, please just let me know in chat. I'll go ahead and get the ASMR requests real quick out of the way, and then we'll get back to reading the story. So, let's see here. Just gonna start with these tappings. Some ear tappies, of course. I'm about to do that anyway, so I'll just make it an extra long one. Absolutely, Numi. Please have a good night. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, let's do this. short little moment. I gotta do something real quick. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, hopefully that was good. Here, you know what? I'm gonna do one more little round of tappies because I have a thing here that is not filled yet because we haven't done that redeem yet. So I have an empty glass right now. Who's Captain Orso? He is another bear VTuber. Does a lot of RPG content. Also, just to throw this out there, the fizzy water redeem has not been used yet. Just mentioning that. Okay. I am going to be getting back to the story. So, what flavor? It is orange and vanilla. So, we are reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic tonight. Hello, I don't know how to pronounce your name, I'm so sorry, but hello over there on YouTube. So we're reading from a light novel called Otherside Picnic. It is, the best way I can think to describe it is a story about two college-age girls who wind up finding themselves in an alternate world, and start making trips there together to hunt creatures there to bring back their like remains or whatever. Basically, it's the way I've put it before is it's lesbians versus creepypasta monsters, because that's kind of how it is. It's like basically they are running into effectively like SCP creatures on the other world. The particular story that we are on right now is a little different because one of the two main characters and another one of the side characters have both actually been captured by another group who also is involved with the other world. So it's a little bit more action heavy than our normal ones. But yeah, I'm going to get back to reading. So if there are any other redeems you guys want, please feel free to go ahead and use them. I will go ahead and do this. If those are something you want, feel free to put in your redeems for those, and I will get them in between chapters. Unfortunately, it does appear that Twitch is starting to run ads on ASMR streams again, which kind of sucks. So I will be taking a break from the story in between ad breaks, so that way people who do happen to wind up stuck in ads don't have to miss any of the story. So we've got about 7 minutes before then, so I'm going to keep going and hopefully get to the end of this chapter in between that time. So there was no toilet in the stall, only concrete stairs leading down. Oh, I know this one. You haven't had ads on your ASMR content yet? Well, fingers crossed. The last ad break I had, I mean, I don't know for a fact that it was running ads, but nobody told me that it wasn't. So I guess we'll see. Whoa! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Hello, hello, Raiders! Welcome in! Hello, Kitsune no Kokoro! Hello, hello, hello! Incoming from the shadows, let's go! How was your ASMR stream? Welcome in, everybody! Hello, thank you so much for the raid, Kitsune. Oh my gosh. Welcome, Raiders. Hello. Hello, everybody. Also, how was your stream, Kitsune? And let me know if you have a particular request you'd like, I like to offer trigger redeems for free to my raiders. Let me go ahead and bring up that list again. If there's anything you want, please just let me know. I really do appreciate it. But yes, hello everybody for who came in with Kitsune no Kokoro's raid. Thank you so much for the follow, Davian Vale. I appreciate it. It was wonderful. Absolutely, I'm doing very well. Thank you. But yes, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Suko Sudi Shigeki, Kumasho in training. I am a variety streamer and a magical girl bear VTuber. I mostly focus on retro style content when I'm not doing ASMR, that is. But Sunday nights we do cozy content and ASMR streams here. Fizzy Water has not been redeemed, actually. I will go ahead and redeem that, though, because I do just have the one. I'll go ahead and redeem that so you don't need to worry about that. Let me see. I only have the one can for tonight, so that way it will have been, it won't be redeemed again. So, yes, I'll go ahead and get that for you. But yeah, tonight we are reading a late novel called Otherside Picnic. Thank you for the check-in. Okay, hang on. Sorry, hang on. Trying to make sure this doesn't make a ton of noise as I open this can. Okay. Okay. Alright. And here we go. Absolutely, Ketchup. Have a wonderful night. 1 second. Gotta empty the glass a little bit here. Get some of that fizz real quick while we still have it. There's always like a little bit left in that can, so we can get it in both ears at once. Thank you so much for the follow, Adams. Is it Adam's Shadow? Yes. Thank you so much. Welcome in. But yes, we are reading a late novel tonight called Otherside Picnic. If you're not familiar with that series, it is... Here, I'm going to go ahead and snooze our ads because they are coming up soon, but I don't want you guys to immediately be hit by ads while you read it in. There we go. So there is an anime adaptation of it, actually, also a manga adaptation. It is technically a Yuri series, but it is about two girls in college who basically both of them independently of one another find stumble their way into like another world where like it's like kind of all post-apocalyptic looking and there's no people, and they find each other there, and basically they wind up teaming up together to hunt, for lack of a better way to put it, SCP monsters in the other world, and so that they can bring like bits of them back to sell. So it's on the like, it's not quite a horror series, it's more kind of eerie, a little creepy, not too scary though, and yeah, there is definitely a very slow burn relationship story part to it where the two of them, it's pretty clear by this point they have feelings for one another, they're just bad at showing it. So This particular part of the story that we're in is a little different from most of the other chapters so far, or files, I guess, for the individual stories, because one of our two main characters, along with one of the side characters, has been kidnapped by a different group who's also involved with the other world. So it's a little more action heavy than previous ones, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, what? Thank you so much for the follows, and we just hit 2,500. Oh my gosh. Okay, I will have to remember on Tuesday I owe you guys a bonus wheel for that. That's amazing. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Volpa, is it Volpa Mansier? Thank you so much for being my 2,500th follower. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes, we will spin the wheel on Tuesday. I do have like a little bonus wheel thing that I spin whenever we hit milestones. So more lore. Wait, what? I mean, you've already got my lore. That's there. There's a whole video for it and everything. But yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I do have like a little bonus wheel that has little extra bits whenever I hit a milestone like that. But they are not necessarily appropriate for ASMR streams, so we will do that on Tuesday then. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to the story here. This news adds a little bit more here. If there are any requests for triggers or the like, I will get to them in between chapters. So please feel free to put in whatever requests you want to put in. Totally fine. I just will. I promise you, I'm not ignoring them. I'm going to be focused on reading, and in between chapters, I will do the redeems. Okay. Let me see here. There was no toilet in the stall, only concrete stairs leading down. Oh, I know this one, I said, despite myself. What do you mean you know it? This is the round hole in the basement, I explained to the suspicious Kozakura. There's net lore like this. There's stairs leading down, hidden in the last toilet stall at a cult facility. The round hole in the basement was an account given by a group of high school students who snuck into a suspicious building. The boys set out to explore a building owned by a new religious movement out in the boonies, and found a strange hidden staircase to the basement in the toilet. Once there, they witnessed strange things. You want to say this is a phenomenon of the other world? It's a little half-baked for that. The guys who came and took the fourth kinds earlier said they were going to hurry to the round hole. They could be deliberately overlapping with it, the same way they used the self-responsibility type stories. They're deliberately reconstructing the elements of a horror story. In the original story, what happens if you go down this hole? If I recall, there was something like a round gate. When the narrator passes through it, he's sent to another world that's a little different from the one he came from. Even as we whispered among ourselves, the footsteps were approaching from outside the restroom. They're coming this way. We'll have to go down, huh? I asked, and Kozakura nodded reluctantly. Using the lantern to light the area at our feet, I stepped onto the stairs. There was a landing a little ways down, and it met with another downward staircase from the opposite direction there. It seemed they'd been kind enough to install a hidden staircase in the men's room, too. We descended another level, and the stairs stopped there. There was a pair of double doors at the end. I slowly opened them, and on the other side was a room about 25 square meters in size, lit with orange lights. In the center of the room, there was a massive iron ring so large that it could touch the walls on either side of it. This is a dead end. Is your eye picking anything up, Sorobo-chan? I focused on my right eye, and there was a thin, wavering film, like a translucent silver bubble, inside the ring. It's a gate. I couldn't say where it leads, though. Can we go through? If Toriko were here. Unfortunately, we couldn't use the gate as is. Like the one that appeared in Kozakura's garden, this one was meaningless without some means, like Toriko's left hand, to open it. Toriko. Where was she now? The cult's abduction team was supposed to have gone out to capture her again. Hopefully she was getting away all right. The worries I had forced deep down into my heart began to surface again, but I managed to swallow them somehow. I heard footsteps enter the restroom above. They were coming this way. There was nowhere to hide in this room. Kozakura drew close to me, but all we could do was wait helplessly. If I used my right eye, would we be able to escape in the ensuing chaos? As my eyes raced around the room, trying to find a way out of this, I saw a slug-like sliver of phosphorescence peeking out of Kozakura's ears, too. If she was left alone, Kozakura might be taken into the cult. That said, even if I could see it, I couldn't touch it with my hands. There's nothing to do here, I told a frowning Kozakura. Kozakura-san, you covered for me when we were originally talking to Rina Arumi upstairs, right? You noticed that? Well, yeah, of course. Thank you. You're acting creepy all of a sudden. I thought I'd say it while I still can. Well, I am an adult, unlike you. The heavy footsteps descended down the stairs, and the double doors opened. Runa entered the room with more than 10 bodyguards.
Oh, found you,
Runa said in an inappropriately cheery voice as she pointed towards us. In my right eye, I could see the lines of her voice flying out of her throat and towards us. I tried to bat them away, but they passed through my hand without me feeling anything. Those lines entered both my ears, leaving a throbbing reverberation. Kozakura's back shuddered, and in a self-mocking tone she said, "If I was going to run into you again, I should have brought earplugs."
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't actually work.
The cultists surrounded us as we cowered. In their hands they carried stun guns, harpoon guns, and pepper spray. Only one had an actual gun, my Makarov. I felt the anger well up inside me instantly. "Don't touch that. It's mine. That's my Makarov. Toriko gave it to me."
I wondered where you'd gotten off to, and you came all the way here without permission. I can't let my guard down for a second, can I?
Rina said admonishingly. I didn't see any signs he didn't keep out.
Oh, it's fine. I'm not blaming you. I'm more interested in how you got out of jail.
Rina circled around to the left of me.
The guy I assigned to you was a complete mess.
He wouldn't do anything but scream and thrash for a while. It was so bad he couldn't even hear my voice.
That's never happened before. I was surprised. It scared me. When he finally calmed down, I heard about it. What you did with that eye of yours.
Stopping at a point diagonally behind me, Rina continued.
The evil eye, was it? You really do have it. This is the first time I've met a girl other than me who has such a powerful and beautiful gift. Sorowo Kamakoshi-chan, was it? I think we could be friends.
Not gonna happen.
Why not?
I hate cults.
What cults? You mean what I'm doing? This is just a fan club. I don't mind disbanding it once I find Satsuki-sama. They'll be all too happy to disappear. Isn't that right, everyone?
Yes, that's right. We'll disappear immediately, the cultists all shouted in unison.
See?
Shut up, I said through teeth gritted with disgust. What I want is for the two of us to be able to go home, right now, together. If you lay a hand on Toriko, I'll never forgive you. I'll drive your whole fan club insane, make them bite through their own tongues. Behind me, Rina gulped, then began to walk again. She passed directly behind me and continued circling around the opposite side.
Kamakoshi-san, you're wonderful. Very cool. I want you as a friend even more now. If it gets you so angry, I want to get my hands on Toriko-san too. That'll get you real fired up. If I pour my voice inside you then, I wonder what kind of face you'll make.
My head suddenly cooled. Okay, I get you. If that's how you want to play it, I'll take you right out of here. I'll take you out right here. Your luck ran out when you carelessly got so close to me. If I grab and pull you in close to me, your followers will be hesitant to use their guns and whatever. That's when I'll use my right eye. Having made up my mind, I glared at Runa, who was to the right of me, and was about to spring when...
What's wrong? Why the scary face?
Runa smiled. In front of me, I saw Runa hugging Kozakura from behind. I redirected my attention at the last moment, right before I would have caught Kozakura in the crossfire.
Whoa! Did something just come flying?
Runa put a hand to her forehead, deliberately shaking her head.
I felt woozy for a moment there. Scary stuff.
Kozakura looked at me with her eyes wide. Her lips trembled, but she didn't utter a word.
Honestly, it doesn't matter if you hate it. If I whisper, be my friend to you, that's all it takes. But we wouldn't be real friends that way, now would we?
I just noticed ads are about to start any second now. I'm really hoping they don't play. Please let me know in chat if they don't play, or I guess if they do. Please let me know, guys, if you're not subscribed and the ads start playing. Let me know, because I'm trying to figure out whether or not Twitch is actually running ads on ASMR streams again. Because for a little bit it seemed that they weren't, and now they might be again. So, I am going to take a quick break from the story in the meantime, just in case. That way anybody who does wind up in ads does not have to miss any of the story. But I'll stay here and chat with you guys for just a little bit. And once we're back from ads, I'll pick the story back up again. Okay, there go the ads. Hopefully they don't happen. Fingers are crossed. But just in case they do, I guess, well, if they're happening, you can't hear me say this right now. But, yeah, if you normally would see ads on Twitch and you're not seeing them currently, please let me know in chat, because that will let me know that they are still not showing them. Which would be nice. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with the assumption that they are happening, and therefore no ads. Fantastic. Yes, good. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. Whew. That also means that on the gaming streams, on the cozy gaming ASMR streams, I'm going to put this back under the ASMR category again, which should also mean no ads during those too. Good. Fantastic. All right. In that case, I'm going to go ahead and pick the story back up right now. If ads happen to come up, just let me know in chat and I'll stop.
Honestly, it doesn't matter if you hate it. If I whisper, be my friend to you, that's all it takes. But we wouldn't be real friends that way, now would we?
Runa began returning to her original position, holding the non-resisting Kozakura like she was some kind of teddy bear. She stopped right in front of me.
Well, if I have to, I'll use my voice, but that takes time, you know? I'm a little busy at the
Mid-sentence, Runa looked behind me and called out,
"Welcome home."
That made me look too, just as a group of several men came out of the silver gauze of the gate. These were some of her more muscular followers. They were armed with nail guns and crowbars. Just one of them had nothing. He was clearly a fourth kind. From the shoulders of his dingy jumpsuit up, he was like a massive white mushroom, and the thin, wriggling eyelash-like organs growing out of the edge of it were affecting the silver phosphorescence that filled the iron ring. It looked like they were organs that could open the gate, like Torika's left hand. The reason he was so docile and obedient might have been that he had been tamed with Runa's voice. "Luna-sama, the other side of the round hole is clear," the leader of the advanced squad said.
Okay, let's go then. Wait just a moment, Kamakoshi-san. Everyone keep an eye on her. She'll try to run off in no time.
We understand, Luna-sama.
Okay, you come along too, Kozakura-san. What are you planning to do? I asked as Runa took Kozukura's hand and headed towards the gate. Would you explain for her, Kozukura-san? At Runa's indication, Kozukura turned back to face me. She plans to go to the DS lab. When I gave her the information on the DS lab, she found out about Satsuki's notes. She intends to steal the notes and use them to summon Satsuki. That's right. I had found out that Satsuki-sama worked with some lab or something, but I never knew who they really were, you know? The Dark Science Lab, was it? They were enough of a surprise on their own, but to think they had her notes, too. I need to have them. What's more, Kamakoshi-san, I hear you can read those notes, right? This was depressing. She already knew everything. I could see why Kozukura's interrogation had taken so long. So, you see, I need you to be my friend, or I'm in a bit of a bind. Let's discuss the rest when I get back. Runa smiled at me, then stepped inside the gate. Wait! I tried to chase after her, but her followers surrounded me. Before there was any chance I could use my right eye, the bag was over my head again. Countless hands grabbed me as I struggled, and carried me off to somewhere. We climbed the stairs and walked down the long corridor. Even if I couldn't see, it became clear along the way that we had gone back down the path I'd originally come from, but I lost track after that. We turned a number of times, climbed some flights of stairs, went outside, and then back inside again. I was suddenly put down and made to sit on a chair. As they bound my hands behind it, one of them spoke up. I will keep watch. The rest of you, go rest. Understood, Chief. Several sets of footsteps departed, and it got quiet. Suddenly, the one man who remained spoke. Luna-sama said to watch you. However, unexpected accidents can happen. What's this guy talking about? The power of that eye. It's simply too dangerous. Luna-sama seems awfully interested in it, but I do not think a monster like you should be let anywhere near Luna-sama. Finally, I got it. Oh, crap. This guy's gonna kill me. If you lay a hand on me, you'll be scolded. You're right. I expect I will be, but you're still not anyone special to Luna-sama yet. Not her friend, at least. The one Luna-sama is really obsessed with is Satsuki-sama, not you. I could hear the complicated emotions whirling beneath plain speech. This guy was jealous. Runa Arumi, the object of his adulation, had taken an interest in me who'd come out of nowhere. I can make any number of excuses. You turned your evil eye on me, and I shot you in my frenzied state. It's what I think will be the simplest script. You have a record, after all. I lost my senses when she laid that eye on me, and when I regained them, I'd already pulled the trigger. Oh, how could this have happened? If I beg for forgiveness like that, Luna-sama should be convinced. I felt something press against my head to the bag. Even without seeing it, I knew. It was the barrel of a gun. My Makarov. This is for Luna-sama anyway. If you survive, you're sure to bring harm to her. Even after all this time trying to keep my cool, I had to panic a little now. Was I going to be shot to death here? By a cultist driven mad by jealousy? Without ever seeing Toriko again? Oh, hold on. Calm down. My voice trembled. That was no good. If he sensed my fear, he'd just get cockier. If I underestimated him, I'd die. That's how these things worked. Wetting my lips, I continued. Think through this calmly. Runa Urumi needs my eye. She wants to read Satsuki Aruma's research notes. Though, having read them once already, I thought that was madness. So if you kill me, she'll be really disappointed and angry, especially when she'd just gotten her hands on Satsuki-sama's notes. It pains me to sadden Luna-sama, but she is the one I follow, not Satsuki-sama. When she finds Satsuki-sama, Luna-sama will surely dissolve her fan club. When she does, I'll lose everything. When he pushed the barrel against me even harder, I started talking faster despite myself. If you just shoot me with a bag on my head, won't that spoil the plan you were just talking about? If the script said I used my eye and you went crazy, you'd need the bag off first, or... I won't fall for that. Give up and die. The man took a deep breath, then stopped. I'm gonna get shot.
Even though I couldn't see anything beneath the bag, I squeezed my eyes shut tight. There was the echo of a gunshot. Huh? As I realized I was still alive, the man raised his voice in panic. That sound was... More gunshots, continuous this time. They echoed, so they were from inside the building. There were screams mixed in with them. Who's there? The man shouted angrily, and almost simultaneously 3 shots rang out. There was another shot, louder than the rest, the sound of the bullet tearing through the air, then a dull impact. The man behind me groaned, then dropped to the floor. Footsteps ran over to me, and then around in front of me. The bag was torn from my head. I looked up, and there was a blonde woman staring at me, out of breath. Toriko. Sorry for the wait, Sorabo, Toriko said, and then hugged me tight. She smelled of sweat and gunpowder. There was no doubt about it. This was the real, living Toriko. Chapter 6. Why are you here? I mumbled, still unable to believe it. This was just too convenient. Was this an illusion my brain was showing me right before my inevitable death? But the realness of Toriko here, right before my eyes, was enough to blow away all that doubt. The jacket and the camo pants I was used to seeing during our forays into the other world, the boots on her feet, the AK hanging from a sling, and the Makarov in a holster. Toriko cut the plastic ties that were binding my wrists, and I stood up from the chair. Turning to look, I saw the man lying face down, clutching his thigh and groaning. He wasn't dead, but he'd lost a lot of blood. Unconcerned, Toriko was doing a thorough check of the man's body. Once I was up and had picked up my Makarov from the ground, Toriko passed me a sheathed knife. Huh? What's this? I took it off this guy. You hold it. I took the knife as instructed, and then was handed a water bottle. I was feeling parched, so I accepted it gladly. I gulped down half of it and was catching my breath when Toriko looked down at the man. What do we do with this thing? She asked. Just leave him? Won't he die? I asked. But Toriko shook her head. Dunno. Honestly, this is my first time shooting a guy. Toriko had asked me once before, could I shoot a person? It looked like she'd been prepared to do it herself, at least. No, if I'm honest, I feel like I already knew that. Even before now, Toriko had shot several things that could only have looked like human beings to her on my command. I was prepared to do it too, but... You okay? Do you feel sick? Toriko leaned over and peered at me, her brow furrowed with concern. Nah, it's just... Once I saw your face, it kind of took the edge off. Get it together, will you? I think there are still enemies around. Even as I nodded, I was at a loss internally. Up until a moment ago, I could have put a bullet in this guy's head and finished him off without hesitation. I mean, he was a cultist. He tried to kill me. He took the gun that meant so much to me, and I've actually felt a bit sorry for him, or to leave him living in pain like this. But I couldn't convince myself to do it now. Not since I'd seen Toriko's face. It was like magic. The harsh me, surrounded by enemies and prepared to do anything to survive, melted away the moment I saw Toriko's face. The me when I was acting alone and the me when I was together with Toriko were like two entirely different people. This wasn't the time to agonize over that, but it troubled me. As I stared down at the bleeding man, feeling indecisive, other footsteps closed in. I looked up quickly. On closer inspection, this was the open room that Kozakura and I had been originally brought to. Seeing a figure climbing in the stairs in the corner, I took aim with my Makarov. Zorowo, it's okay. Toriko put a hand on my arm. The one who appeared from the stairs. It was Mugiwa of the DS lab. He'd taken off his suit and was wearing just a shirt and vest. His sleeves were rolled up, and he held a shotgun. The barrel had an alligator-like attachment on it, and I realized it was the gun that Kozakura had used before. There was a collapsible police baton hanging from his waist, too. Looking at me, he smiled just a little. Oh, good. You were all right. Even Mugiwa-san's here. They came to save us together? How had they found this place? No, where even was this place? I had a lot of questions, and no idea which one to ask first, when Mugiwa rushed over to our side. With his sleeves rolled up, I could see a tattoo dense with Mayan text on his arm. There was a sheathed machete on his back. Scary. There was no way this guy was a law-abiding citizen. "Where is Kozakura-san?" he asked, and I snapped to my senses. Right. This was no time to be staring off into space. I spoke up, probably later than I should have. "She was taken by Runa Arumi. She's planning on going to the DS lab through the gate." "The DS lab? What for?" Toriko asked with a dubious look on her face. I was a bit hesitant to answer. "To steal Satsuki Aruma's notes." "What?" When I quickly explained that they were a cult with knowledge of the other world, Megiwa's face grew grim. "Please, tell me how many headed to the DS lab." "I don't know the exact numbers, but I think there were more than 10. From what I saw, they don't have guns, but they're armed with construction tools. There were 2 fourth-kind contactees with them, too. Every one of them is brainwashed by Runa Arumi's voice. Kozakura-san's been hit by it, too." "This is bad. There's hardly anyone at the DS lab right now. They'll be free to tear the place apart," Megiwa whispered, pulling out his smartphone and putting it to his ear. "What does she want something like Satsuki's notes for?" Toriko asked in the meantime. "They're going to try to use them to summon Satsuki-san from the other world. Runa Arumi worships her. Though she's never actually met her." "I see." When I added that last bit, Toriko looked a little relieved. It was a number of times now that I'd seen Toriko get hurt when she realized the Satsuki Aruma that she loved and respected had been out picking up other girls when she wasn't around. I felt a mix of concern for Toriko, and irritation that she wouldn't just get over the woman already. Maybe want to shout out loud. Megiwa returned his phone to his pocket. "I can't make contact. It seems the situation has gotten bad. Could I ask you to show me to the gate?" The thing is, I was blindfolded most of the way. This guy ought to know, though," I said, indicating the man bleeding at my feet, and Megiwa knelt down next to him. "Do you want help? If you tell us where the gate is, I'll stop the bleeding." "Shut up. I could never betray Luna-sama." Yeah, I didn't expect that to work. If he's that fanatically devoted to Runa Arumi, dying for her's easy. Or so I had begun to resignedly think, but then I suddenly had an idea. "Oh, right. Toriko, your left hand." Sure. What is it this time?" Totally used to it at this point, Toriko grabbed the glove on her left hand with her teeth as she pulled it off. "The space next to this guy's ear. Grab it hard." Right. Whoa! In my field of vision, the bonds of the voice wrapped around the man's head began thrashing around as Toriko seized them in her translucent hand. At the same time, he let out a scream. "What are you doing? Stop!" "Sora, this thing's flopping around in my hand." "Good. Now give it a yank." Come out, you..." Toriko pulled with brute force, dragging the voice out of the man's head. The man screamed and his eyes rolled back. What do I do with it now?" No clue. Try crushing it." "You need to think of this stuff first." Keeping it as far from her body as possible, Toriko squeezed her left hand. The voice scattered, like a creature made out of water. I felt an echo of Runa's whispering voice deep in my ears, and my head sunk into my shoulders a bit. "Did you do something to him?" Megiwa asked, looking up, and I nodded. "He may be more reasonable now. Try one more time." Megiwa produced a small tube with some liquid from a pouch. He flicked the cap with his thumb to remove it, revealing a needle. When he jabbed it into the man's neck, he gasped for breath and regained consciousness. What did you do? What did you steal from me?" Confusion gradually spread through the man's wide eyes. You could see the sense of loss. In mere seconds, the man hung his head, and he seemed to shrink noticeably. "I will only say this once more. If you lead us to the gate, I will save your life." The man nodded easily and powerlessly in response. "Hey, Sora, what did I pull out of this guy?" Toriko asked as she shook her left hand. I thought for a moment before responding. "His faith, I guess." While Megiwa was staunching the bleeding, the man obediently told us the way there. Leave this place, cut across the yard, and enter the building across from here. Go up a floor, then down 2 floors using another staircase. From there, follow an underground passages right, left, straight, and there was a washroom at the end of the hall. In terms of location, it was under the building we were in now, but he said there was no means of going down there directly from here. I considered the possibility that he was lying, of course, but it matched what my own sense of direction had told me. I would have wanted to bring him along as a guide, but the leg that had been shot by the AK was hurt pretty bad. The man did not resist at all, as McGeewa stopped the bleeding, then proceeded to bind him with plastic ties. I couldn't decide if that was because his wound had left him groggy, or because of the loss of faith. We couldn't wait around here forever. Once we were ready to go, we hurried downstairs. We left the building that was like a factory with all the machines removed, and came out into a yard with large buildings surrounding it on 3 sides. It might be better to say that this was not so much a courtyard as an empty lot. The gravel on the ground had thick grass growing up through it, like a parking lot that had been left abandoned for many long years. The time on Toriko's watch said it was late at night, 3 o'clock a.m. to be exact. It was completely silent. The area around us was pitch dark, the premises were surrounded by trees, and the stars in the sky were clearly visible. Where is this? The mountains of Saitama, near Hano. Hano? That was far west of Shukuji Koan on the Seibu-Ikebukuro line. How did you figure out we were here? I asked as we ran across the yard. When the 2 of you were abducted, I contacted Migawa-san. He came as soon as I explained the situation, and we talked about it. He figured the guys who grabbed you 2 would be back for me. Oh, sorry. Would be back for sure, sorry. Why? You had a gun on you when you were taken, so they had to know we wouldn't be going to the police. They would either contact us using the gun as blackmail material, or break into Kozukura's now uninhabited house. My initial assumption was that this was a for-profit kidnapping, and Kozukura-san was their target. I believed you were only caught up in it. I never would have imagined it was a cult, Migiwa explained. Migiwa-san and I waited for them in Kozukura's house, with traps set up in the garden and entrance hall. They came faster than we expected, so we almost didn't make it in time. Migiwa-san clobbered the guys who fell for them. Traps? We may need to apologize to Kozukura a bit later. We put some nails and holes in the wall, and maybe broke some things. And? There were 4 in total, but Migiwa-san took them all out. It was incredible. I may have done too much. I was surprised to see how well Nishina-san worked. Your mother must have trained you well. I don't know about that. I was just in such a hurry to rescue the 2 of them. Toriko. Putting yourself in danger for me like this, it touched my heart, but at the same time, I was a little frustrated. I wish I could have seen Toriko then. I was jealous of Migiwa for not only getting to see it, but being her battle buddy too. No, don't be like that, me. Migiwa put himself in danger to come here too. And this place, how did you hear about it from them? I asked while I was trying to change my thinking. Would cultists spill their guts so easily? Or did they resort to torture or something? Migiwa-san made me wait outside while he did the interrogation, Toriko said, sounding dissatisfied. Migiwa turned his head to the side. You can leave such things to me. It's not a job for a normal person. What exactly did you do to them? As I was imagining some gruesome scene of torture, Migiwa smiled. Have no fear, I didn't put so much as a scratch on them. I merely borrowed the bathtub and some towels, and we played with the water for a bit. Though I neglected to clean up before we left, so I may also owe Kozukura-san an apology. I didn't know exactly what he did, but I was sure of one thing. No way was this guy a law-abiding citizen. Your arms look pretty awesome, I said. Looking down at his arms covered in Mayan text, Migiwa smiled shyly. This is embarrassing. It was a youthful indiscretion. I was doing some things in Central America a long time back. Some things? The castanets were in vogue at the time. No, let's not bother with that story. From the way Migiwa spoke, it sounded like a story he'd rather forget. If it weren't for the situation, I'd have wanted to press him for the details. We entered the building across the yard. There were wooden fences on either side of the hall. Inside them, they were divided into a number of enclosures. In one of those enclosures, there were stairs up to the floor above. Kind of an odd layout, huh? Toriko whispered suspiciously. It was odd, yes. It was like a barn, but there were no signs it had been used. Besides, why would you put stairs to the upper floor in a cow's stall? Even though I thought it was suspicious, I still ran up the stairs. There was a hall lined with glassless windows, and when I peered into the rooms as I passed by, there was one with nothing but a long line of urinals, a kitchen that contained a mannequin torso that belonged in a clothing store, a child's room with "help" written on the wall in red paint, and more bizarre scenes. What is this place? There's no sign of anyone having lived here. It's like a haunted house, Toriko said, sounding creeped out. It's deliberate. These guys use the props from ghost stories to contact the other world. Is there some sort of motif here? This is unquestionably the farm in the mountains. The Farm in the Mountains was a famous true ghost story. This story, which became topical when a celebrity told the story like it really happened to them, involved a series of events at a bizarre facility. There was a farm-like building that was still under construction in the mountains. There were no cows there, and no people either. The stairs to the second floor hadn't been put in yet, and there was a room covered in a fuda. This place was ensconced in a bizarre atmosphere, and despite it actually existing, no one knew what it really was. I could see some elements of the design of the building we were in now seemed to have been lifted from that story. If I considered their goal, it wasn't surprising. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. They were trying to use a building to test the theory that speaking of something frightening could draw it closer. If I thought of the way they had spread the self-responsibility type stories as part of that same flow, it made sense. Their activities were all ritualized attempts to contact the other world. That their ultimate goal was to summon Satsuki Aruma made me think, are you people crazy? But for the person beside me, it was no laughing matter. I could understand how the man who tried to kill me felt. He worshipped Runa Arumi, yet all she spoke of was Satsuki-sama. The more he served her, the further she went away from him. It must have been hard on him. Never would have thought I would find myself sympathizing with a cultist. Sorwo, is something up? Toriko called out to me, and I looked up. Huh? Nothing, really. You sure? You were looking a little depressed. Toriko cocked her head to the side a bit as she looked at me. I'm fine, thanks, I replied with a smile. She's sure paying close attention to me, huh? Jeez. Once we found another set of stairs and descended 2 floors, we came upon an underground passage. Megiba took point, and Toriko brought up the rear as we advanced cautiously. I was in the middle. Along the way, we came to a place I recognized. There was a sound of weeping from inside the confinement room. Even when we passed in front of the cell, it didn't stop. What's all that about? Toriko asked in a quiet voice. I dunno, I said. The look in Toriko's eyes seemed like she wanted to say something. It pierced into me. She suspects me of something. I'm offended. We encountered no cultists along the way. Descending the hidden stairs in the toilet, we were finally standing in front of the round hole again. This gate is connected to the DS lab? Megiba asked. That's what they were saying. Let's hurry. We've got to save Kozukura, Toriko said hurriedly. Okay, walk in front of the iron ring then. Okay. We approached the round hole with Toriko leading the way. I focused on my right eye, and the silver haze shimmered in front of my eye. Alright, now touch the space inside the ring. Toriko reached out with her left hand and touched the curtain. It's there. I just pulled it back, right? Right. Give it a good hard yank. Toriko swung her left arm wide. Bang! On the other side of the parted curtains, there was a dimly lit parking garage. We leapt through as the thin membrane began to recover on its own. Chapter 7. Nope, before I do that, let me double check here real quick. Cool. Okay. Chapter 7. The gate closed behind us. We were in the underground parking garage beneath the building that housed the DS lab. No one was here. We walked between the luxury cars parked here as we hurried to the elevator. When Megiba pressed the up button, the bell chimed and the door opened. When we got in, the control panel had been forced open, and the hidden keypad that allowed you to go to the DS lab floors was exposed. Megiba plugged in the number, and the elevator began to rise. "We will have to reconsider our security measures," Megiba said. We each checked our magazines as we waited for the elevator to arrive. "From what you saw, Kamakoshi-san, what poses the greatest threat?" he asked. Runa Urumi's voice. It's something like an intangible tentacle from the other world, and it brainwashes you if you keep listening. It can probably pierce through earplugs, too. "What are we going to do about that?" Toriko asked. "If I'm looking at it, your hand can touch the voice, like you did earlier." Toriko scowled. "That again? It feels really weird, you know? Like a living creature? Can't help but imagine what it looks like." "It's not that gross when you can see it. Don't worry." "Say that after touching it yourself." "You mentioned there were 2 fourth kinds as well, correct? Do you know what they were like?" "One was like Toriko, able to touch substances from the other world. The other I haven't seen." "There were another 10 or so humans armed with construction tools in addition to that, yes?" "Those numbers and weapons were just an educated guess. Treat them accordingly." "Thank you. Let me warn you in advance. Should the need arise, I will shoot. I believe that may prove shocking to you, but please understand the necessity," Megiba explained. "I understand." "Okay." Toriko and I both nodded. "How much experience do the two of you have with this sort of thing?" "This sort of thing? How should I put it? The in and out." "The in and out? There had to be a better way to say that." "This is my first time doing anything like this." "Mama taught me how to shoot a gun, but this is my first time actually doing this too." "I understand. I will draw their attention, and you two do your best to stay out of sight and move safely. I can handle the rest somehow. But I will need to ask the two of you to handle Runa Urumi." The elevator slowed, then stopped. The door opened in front of our ready guns, and a dark hall with barely any light appeared before us. Megiba led the way as we left the elevator, guns ready. The word lab was written in the wall in the elevator hall. This was the floor with Satsuki Haruma's research rooms. I remembered it well. The area was silent, but there was sort of an uneasiness in the air, like lots of people had been here until just a while ago. I peered into the corridor from the elevator hall. There was a single door open, and light leaking out of it. "Hello, Anan. How was the movie?" I also did see the redeem there. I will get that in just a moment. My expectation that the room must have been torn apart proved to be incorrect, and it was still actually neat and tidy. Though, thinking about it, that should have been obvious, huh? Runa Urumi worshipped Satsuki-sama, so she wouldn't tear it apart like during a household search. The notebook that had been on the desk last time we came was already gone. If I recall, Megiba had said it had been sent to the UB artifact warehouse. Once we'd cleared the room, Megiba returned to the doorway. "They must be on the upper floor. Let's go." "Yeah," Toriko said, sounding sad to leave. "Is something wrong?" I asked. "Before, when we were in that dark corridor, there was light pouring out of this room, right? When I saw that, I couldn't help but think, oh, Satsuki's come back. So, I'm feeling a bit down." I shouldn't have asked. I got miffed and told Toriko in a voice I must admit sounded grumpy. "This really isn't the time, is it? Come on, hurry up and let's go. Look, Megiba-san is already going." I started walking with large strides, taking a firm hold of Toriko's hand. "Whoa, hold on!" "Just hurry up, okay?" I half-dragged Toriko out of the room. Megiba nodded to us, then continued down the corridor. I followed behind him without letting go of Toriko's hand. No way was I going to let her look back. We reached the stairs and started going up. There was a slight echo of voices from up above. 1 floor up, there was another dark lab, and no one was there. When we reached another flight of stairs, we came out on a comparatively brighter floor. Peeking in from the stairs, I saw a white hallway. This was the medical floor, where the fourth kinds were kept. There was blood splattered on the floor here and there. Following the blood spots with my eyes, I saw a man slumped against the wall, and a nurse kneeling down, attending to him. The man was the doctor with the shaved head who we'd met before. The doctor was sweating profusely and breathing heavily. There were several nails sticking out of his left shoulder and chest, dyeing his white coat a bright red. He'd been attacked with a nail gun. The doctor and nurse looked up at us. Megiwa brought a finger to his lips, making the gesture for silence. The nurse pointed around the corner, and Megiwa nodded. Toriko pulled out her smartphone. When she put just the camera around the corner, the hall appeared on screen. We could see 2 cultists walking down the hall of the fourth kind treatment rooms towards us. The walls facing the hall were filled with windows for the treatment rooms. If we fired off a shotgun here, there would be damage to the rooms. While I was thinking about what to do, Megiwa reached for the end of the shotgun and twisted the spreader. The alligator mouth that had been horizontal was now diagonal. He disengaged the safety, adjusted his grip on the shotgun, and then revealed himself to the enemy. "Halt! Drop your weapons or I'll shoot." The 2 stopped in shock, then started shouting incoherently as they turned their nail guns in our direction. Megiwa pulled the trigger. The shot, constrained to a 45-degree angle by the spreader, hit both of them. They fell to the floor, the sound of the gunshot echoing until it faded away. Megiwa walked over to the fallen men and kicked their nail guns away towards us. They still seemed to be breathing, but were in no condition to resist. Megiwa quickly bound them in plastic ties, then hurried back to us. "Megiwa, the rest are upstairs," the doctor said between ragged breaths. "They headed for the warehouse. They've got Kozakura-chan." I know. That's when it happened. Another man appeared at the door to the stairs. This one had a shotgun in his hands. He raised the barrel, pointing it towards us. Megiwa had his back to us. He hadn't noticed the man. "Look out!" Before I could finish my warning, Toriko fired. The AK's bullet hit the man in the upper arm, and the impact shook him to the left. He pulled the trigger at almost the same time. The barrel went wide, and the shot tore into the wall above my head. The man dropped the shotgun and fell down. Toriko turned to look, but when she saw the bullet holes behind me, she went pale. "Zorabo, are you hurt?" I'm fine," I shouted back, and Toriko arched her eyebrows, then let out a big sigh of relief. I panicked there." Toriko seemed even more shaken up than me, who had nearly been shot to death, so I went over and put my hand on her back. "I'm fine, just fine. Didn't even get a scratch." As I patted her back, I could feel the tension in her muscles. Yeah, this situation was a first for Toriko too. Maybe she was more tense than me. Maybe she was more tense than me because she had a greater understanding of just how dangerous guns were. But it was true she was a good shot, and the AK made for a reliable weapon. But Toriko was no pro. When she saved me in the mountain farm, Toriko's hands had been quivering then too. Toriko was a kind-hearted girl. She had to be afraid to shoot people, and even more scared to get into a gunfight. She was enduring it for me. Even I had to realize that much. Megiwa got the shotgun away from the man and bound him like the other 2 from before. "I apologize. I let my guard down. This is embarrassing." Toriko was looking, so I'm fine. Right, Toriko? Toriko let out a long breath, then nodded. Through the palm of my hand, I felt her tension lessen slightly. "Thanks. I'm calm now." "Yeah." "I'll go take a look, okay?" Toriko moved away from me and poked her head out the door the man she had shot had come from. "Doesn't look like any more are coming." "Roger that. Let us be on our way." As Megiwa started to walk away, the doctor called after him. "Who are these guys?" "A cult led by a fourth kind. They worship Aruma-san." "Ah, shit. So that's why they asked me where the notebook is." "Did you tell them?" "Before I knew it, I'd blabbed everything, including the door code to the warehouse. It makes no sense." "You couldn't have done anything. There's no resisting her voice," I said to the frustrated doctor. "Don't worry about it. Just rest," Megiwa added. "Can I count on you to look after him?" The latter half of that was directed to the nurse. Seeming to come back to her senses all of a sudden, the nurse nodded. Let's go, Toriko, Toriko said. Yeah. Toriko picked up the shotgun the man had been holding and handed it to me as if that were a perfectly natural thing to do. As the nurse went about administering first aid, the 3 of us climbed the stairs. That is the end of that chapter, and we are coming up on midnight, so I think I will probably put a pin in this file until next time around. And to close us off, we'll be doing some trigger requests, because I do see, let me see, it was Turter that requested tapping, so let me go ahead and get that. The usual, I will get that for you right after this, Anon. Also, hello, Annabelle. Welcome in. I hope you guys have been enjoying the story. When we pick it up next time, we'll continue along with the rescue attempt in the lab. Your headcanon when I do the taps, you just imagine me transforming into a cub and walking. One more thing here. It was a good day. Thank you, Anon. Whoops. Sorry about that. And then for Anon, Show. Kumasho. Kuma. Masho. Kumasho. It was fun to watch with your close friend. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I still need to see it. I still haven't seen it. Kumasho. Imagine a sucrose stream on the big screen, though. That would be wild. That would be quite wild. Taking a quick look here to see who is out and about tonight doing their ASMR thing. You mean? What do you mean, Lucy? What do you mean? What do you mean? You have a big TV. Fair enough, I suppose. Yeah, you could put the stream on it. That's true. Okay, let me see here. I have a couple of thoughts here. Good night. It was a good stream. Laughing while listening got you back into Guilty Gear. That's awesome. You posted for some biking comments. That's really cool. I'm glad to hear that it was helpful. Thanks to that interview from yesterday, that unique trigger will be more important than ever. Will it really? Let me see here. I think I might. Let me see. So, here's... I can send you guys off to a hand cam stream. Luna Letty is doing a sticker scene It has been a while since we've raided into her. Or Ember is doing... Oh, is doing a collab. It is still ASMR, so that's good. So we could go either direction there. We have not rated either one of them in a while. Handcam stream works? Yeah, okay. We'll go that direction. Luna has not been going for that long, so she should be going for a good while longer, which will mean that you guys have plenty of time to continue winding down should you need it. Okay, so before I send you off though, I will be back on Tuesday. Here, I can do this real quick. I don't even really have the schedule finalized yet, but I can put what I have done so far here. The stream schedule for next week, I'll be back on Tuesday playing Unbeatable. Oh, I do need to make that all caps, I guess, before people yell at me for not doing that again. This coming weekend, starting Friday night, is the Donathon. It's finally here. I have a lot of prep work to do, so, but this Friday night, we will be starting it. We will have a timer. It will be counting down, and it will keep getting added to as the donations come in. So I'm excited for it. I've got some fun things planned, and I think it'll be a good time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit, actually. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead here and start getting ready for this raid. So those of you coming with me on the raid, we do have a raid message. If you are subscribed and have access to the emotes, it is this. If you are not subscribed, that's totally fine. We've got you covered with this one instead. Please feel free to use either one of those as we raid out here. And let me put Luna's channel in here. Luna, buddy. There we go. In case Twitch happens to leave you guys behind, which occasionally happens, you can get there that way. So I will be back on Tuesday, and again, for playing some Unbeatable. And until then, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night and a great start to your week. And I will see you next time. Sleep well, chat. Have a good night. Hang tight for that raid, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Good night, chat.